the Spotify podcast.
Oh, this part right here.
Yeah. This is we're talking over it right now.
We're talking over the bumper.
That's okay.
Special stuff coming to you now. That's right. In the studio bar.
Yeah, the studio bar. That's a thing. Everyone needs a bar/studio.
Heck
in their
yeah, you
house.
do. I love it.
Yeah.
I did not think I'd spend as much time as I would at this very location.
You know, I bet some people build a little wet bar into their basement and only use it, once every 6 months when they have people over, but not Adam Pocious.
You know, I'm going to just be 100% honest. I had this as a vision for this bar when it came in.
Okay.
But I never could see how it would have come together.
Because I remember you said, you were going to have the TVs here, which always made sense, but then you would be sitting there and watching it. It's all it takes is then camera this way.
There you go.
Perfect.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Happy Thursday.
It's the Hangout. It's 2 weeks since my birthday show.
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh.
Who is this guy trying to me? Cheers to this gentleman.
Cheers.
That's a good
everyone.
thing. Hell yeah. Oh, it's our show. It's lagging on my phone. But that's all good.
No.
I don't know if it's lagging out there. You gotta let us know. Oh! Who's
hyping ourselves up?
We do that, and it's going to be so relevant for tonight's content on the show. So we really appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Let us know who's out there. We got Stealth Mouse. We got Hype Trains. It's everything that you need for your Thursday night.
I love it. It's what every Thursday was meant to be. Whiskey, talking about fun stuff, technology stuff, creative stuff, and also Hype Trains.
I look forward to it. It's a relief from the minutia of the day.
Balm.
Sometimes I just feel like a cog, which is not a bad thing.
Sure.
But
we all are.
But sometimes I feel like I want to just let loose and have a conversation and talk about things. I actually do have some content that we didn't talk about. There was a conference.
That's right.
That was, and I don't think I've ever even told you about a dang thing about it.
No, I haven't heard. All I saw was a marketing picture from the conference with Adam looking very interested and cool. That's all I know. It was a whole day conference.
It was a whole day, and I could have invited you, and you could have went for free the entire time. But
it's fine.
I kind of figured it might not be.
Sure. Education, AI, I assume, was where it was.
It was good. No, it was Microsoft was physically there.
Nice.
It was a thing. It was a big deal, and it was
Mr. Microsoft.
Mr. Microsoft himself. Hello, sir.
Mr. Microsoft's my father.
Did you close your windows?
So was there a keynote that was particularly interesting or something like that?
So I mean, it was the CSU coming out party for AI, and they showed some of the platforms, and they talked about Copilot and how it's integrated into the platform. But then we also have our own platform for building agents.
Right.
And one of the cool things, not just in Copilot, but it's its own thing where they ground it and they train information and they train different agents, and then they link them together and make one primary agent that gets them together.
The agent orchestration.
Cool. Yeah,
I love that.
It was absolutely. Now, the conference itself, it was very, I think, a lot of what we've talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely almost every single thing we've ever talked about. But an interesting one.
They finally caught up.
Yeah. One of the interesting ones, at least, there was two conferences. There was one at our Fort Collins and one on our Pueblo campus. But one of the interesting things about it is that we did calls for a symposium to talk about your different events and the things that were out there. And man, there were some really good ones at the Pueblo. I only went to the Pueblo one.
Oh, okay.
And there was one specifically on AI and some science that's been going on out there, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And then there was another one that the other two were education based, but one of the education was really, really good.
So did they record any of this? Can anybody watch these?
So we didn't record those ones. And part of the reason they didn't want to do that is we wanted some in-person interactions, and so when you put something online, people don't come.
Yeah.
So it ended
Just don't tell people.
Yeah. well, then they'll never watch it.
No, but then record it, but then don't tell them that you're going to record it and then put it out anyway.
I thought I could try and see if somebody wants to be a guest and have a conversation on the show one time about the educational one. Educational one, I just feel like I want to give a quick insight about it because it was interesting around how they talked about the effect of AI in education, and how they're saying like, yeah, it's here, but AI is a little tiny component of this bigger AI spectrum of how you actually, or how you learn, the bigger learning spectrum, and AI is just a little piece of it. And you got to learn how to use it the right way. And it gave me a lot more comfort, I guess you could say, on thinking about teaching and what its impact would be on that. And they talked about the higher order thinking and how you leverage AI just to do that kind of thing more. And I was like, hey, I'm kind of bought in now that it is just a tool and it's not going to circumvent everything and take over the world right away.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I remember you brought a 1 hour clip of I think maybe a similar conference or this same conference from multiple years ago. And we watched it during the 24-hour charity stream. And I remember thinking like, it wasn't necessarily like the most, I don't know, thoughtful or thinking outside the box or in future parts that it could have been that we were sort of thinking at the time. So that's good to hear that it's sort of moved past that.
This one was like completely orchestrated and like They had like lunch and they had like over 150 people signed up for it. And it was an all day event. Like every hour had something going on. Same thing. And actually,
I bet I could have convinced my company to let me go to that next year.
Next year. We were supposed to do it next year. And everyone in the chat went to it, Ryan. So sorry to make you feel left out there.
Everyone, like literally every person in the chat got to see it. We're all having fun inside jokes about it right now. There's Discord channels where we're discussing it. But maybe next year, Ryan.
I had this thought, and I'm just going to ruin the joke because I'm not going to ever pull it off, is that I was going to convince you that everyone in the chat, everything was all just like AI, and it was an orchestrated joke. None of this, and then I was like, "That's too hard to pull off on Ryan."
It would be. You'd really have to. I mean, because I met some of the people in the chat, I suppose, but
like literally everyone in the chat, I think, absolutely went to this thing.
Congratulations, everyone.
Sorry, Ryan.
All right. All good. All right. Should we do a question for humans?
We should
This
absolutely
is the part of the show where we read a one card from Questions from Humans. Then Adam and I do one of our own fun questions, and we would love to hear people's answers to them from us and in the chat. Okay. Question for human. What is the nicest thing someone has ever done for you?
Nicest thing that anyone has done for you.
The nicest thing anyone has ever done for you. The nicest.
That's a good question. Because there's a lot of nice things that have happened, but I'm just trying to think throughout time. And number one, chat, hilarious by now. The gaffes in the chat are great tonight, all. But man, there's been some like, I think really interesting. Do you have one, right?
I mean, you can always say like obviously your parents do tons of things for you. Like, I remember, one of the nicest things someone's ever done is like my parents took basically a majority of my college expenses and paid for those, right, in a time where they were not super, insanely wealthy. And that feels like maybe one of the nicest things that anything has done for me, because I took that and, became the rest of sort of my working life. So that is probably a big one. Something is the nicest thing that someone has ever done for you. But I'm trying to think sort of outside of your kind of immediate family doing something. Can you think of someone?
So I
like
did.
A teacher maybe,
I did.
Or a
like,
friend?
Like there was one time, and like this isn't probably the nicest, but it's like one that cropped up in mind. I remember I had met a friend and like we just barely got to know each other, had a conversation or something, and then I got like really sick. Like I can't remember what it was, and I had posted, or it was the time where I posted something on a tweet or whatever, or maybe I even just text this person. I can't remember the situation, but they knew I was sick, and that was it. It would be like if you text and we're like, I'm not feeling good, and you're like, oh, okay.
Right, sure.
And so like about an hour and a half later, I get a text message. They're like, hey, just go look on your porch. And they had like taken a bowl and put like different soups and all these different things and bought me a little humidifier.
Man.
And left it on my freaking porch. And then left and was just like, hey, this will help you out.
Yeah.
I was like, Oh my god, that was so touching of you.
They talk about that with like making deep connections with people, right? And we're do some stuff for Network Leader, and we do a lot about like professional networks, and part of that is like recognizing small things and doing things for people like out of sort of the blue is like really will endear you to people and make a deeper relationship with someone faster than if you just didn't do any of that kind of stuff. And obviously you still remember this from years later with somebody doing something like that. I do know I had a teacher when I was in Washington Elementary back in 6th grade, I think. And his name was Mr. Gibson. And I remember that guy like really helping me out in, like he would encourage me to do things, right? Or he would be like, Ryan's on the, or like I signed up for the basketball team and I was terrible and he was the coach and would like put me in on certain parts and, like really like encouraging and like that. And I remember thinking even at the time being like, I have never had a teacher do that, right? Like just, being able to say like, yeah, putting in the extra effort to really make someone feel like they belong there and that it was great and, push them forward a little bit. So I feel like that was pretty nice.
I love that. I love the little moments in life like that. And Mike Azul, I always got your back, bro. If you ever need to hang out in the kitchen, I'm there for you. 100%.
I love hanging out in the kitchen. That's the hangout spot.
You were part of that event, apparently.
Which
That's
event?
when Mike Azul was on the show, and then and then his car did not want to start that day.
Right.
That sucked. I feel so bad about that. But one of the things I think about that's important is the moments we create with people, and so like these little like things you do. I mean, I swear, there's little moments sometimes where, like when somebody walks in a door, and maybe you're that way too far behind them,
right?
That like it's the awkward moment to do that, but they slap the button. Because they see you and then they walk in the door. It's
right.
like their way to say, hey, I'll let this open the door for you because I got you, bud. It's like those are like little like tiny moments that are like, oh my God, like people notice and people are around and I appreciate that.
And they wouldn't have had to do that, right? No, they would have they lose nothing and almost gain nothing, from that tiny act of kindness.
But it sticks with you.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
All right. Did you have one from your list? Because I did too.
If you want to do one, I feel like I need to replenish mine a little bit, but I have one, but
I just re-upped it, and now I'm trying to figure out which one it was again.
This is all. Look at these. There's like hundreds of these. You can't tell me this isn't ChatGPT.
This is not.
This is straight out of Adam Posh's head. These hundreds of questions in a perfectly bulleted, formatted list.
100%, and with M dashes all about.
I can smell the M dashes in this thing.
There's no M dashes in here. Is it AI?
You'll never know.
Oh my goodness. There was one, it was about being young, and I need to find if I could see that.
Disturbed.
Yo, Disturbed is here. Oh man. I should have highlighted it. I knew it was something I wanted to talk about. Do you have one?
Well, I could do one. I don't think we've done this one before.
Okay.
But what would you say is the most useless skill?
Oh, we did that last time.
We did that last time.
Remember this skill, Ryan?
Oh yeah, I do remember that now.
How could you forget?
Okay, is there a fictional world that you would most like to live in for a month?
I do like this question.
So just a month, and now you're living
Witcher
in
world.
Witcher world?
Hell yeah!
Ah, really? And but you're like a badass Witcher in this.
Yeah. I get to be a Witcher.
Okay.
But
because you're not just like peasant, that gets run over by,
the
roach.
first peasant that gets murdered by the Witcher to make sure his sword can swing.
Yeah, exactly. They're like the intro level guy that gets killed. Yeah, peasant number 3. So that would be it.
Well, the reason, Mike, I like The Witcher is I like an older school style kind of. I always like The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings style. Like fantasy world, interesting powers, like a neat little dynamic that like there are people that are in creatures that are different in this space.
Yeah.
being able to experience that and be around it and see that. And then I like the idea of times when there's not technology. To be completely candid, I like the idea that you have to go places and you have to develop these relationships. And to
Right.
me, that would be just a really fun, if I was a Witcher, like sleeping under a tree and then going to the bar and then murdering
You could
some
do
sort
okay,
of
well, now we're past
murdering some creature because it killed the cart of peasants.
The fantasy part, I imagine, is that as much of a draw, or is it really just like old timey cabin, horse and
I think it's
you
both.
in the nature,
It's both.
or is it like dragons and stuff too?
It's more the cabiny, like
Yeah.
just that, but the added lore and fun is good.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna say like some kind of Star Wars universe would be pretty
Oh.
bad, especially if I was the freaking Jedi, right? Like if you were a Jedi.
Oh, so now you're gonna be a Jedi.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
gotcha.
Well, if you're being the Witcher, so then, because then you're talking about like, one, you're badass, right? So you're not like afraid, of all these crazy aliens, but then you're getting to see a bunch of aliens and fly around to different planets and like, being able to block lightsabers and be a badass with the Jedi, that would be cool.
So you went Star Wars universe specific.
Star Wars
it's
universe.
a little grungy in certain
Right,
places. That's
it's
kind
not
of cool.
It's not so technological. Like there's not a lot of AI stuff. It's more like janky robots and sort of spacecraft, but
Jedi have too many rules.
but like, I mean, if I'm only there for a month, like I'm some kind of like rogue Jedi.
Oh, so
obviously.
you're a disavowed or
right. So halfway in between, the
that
light
the
and the
dark
dark
side?
side. I'm gray.
You're the gray person. What color
Gray
would your
side.
your lightsaber?
Gray.
You only can throw like nunchuck lightsabers
Oh,
because you're
nunchuck lightsabers. Why isn't that? I guess because you have to hold the nunchuck side, which is
no, because you
that's-
throw it and then you use the force to turn the things on the lightsaber, and
right.
it goes and gets somebody, and comes back, and right as you catch it, it turns off.
Did you know? So have you ever thought of the thing of like, say you swung a lightsaber, but then like someone was about to block it, and then you would just turn it off, right as they were about, and then turn it back on as soon as their thing, and then just slice them in half.
Because it's against the code.
Right, like apparently there's like lore in Star Wars lore that is a style of fighting that like a certain people do it, but you're right, it's like against the code of whatever, so most people don't do it. I guess they just had to come up with something, right? But anyway,
I love the chat one on this one.
yeah.
Go back to kindergarten, but still have the mind of an adult. So you could appreciate snack
time and recesses. That'd be
Man,
great.
I've always thought of that, like just the concept of going back in the past and having all your facilities as like where you're at now, but being young again. Like, I don't know if that would be a curse or
So
or something awesome.
part of me thinks it would be awesome, but then also like everyone around you is treating you like a child, and also your peers are also, so it's like you have no peers anymore. Like everyone is.
But wouldn't you kind of make your way out of that?
No, but like, I guess, but I imagine it takes a while for you to get a whole cadre of peers who are at your same level when you're a 7-year-old. Like I don't think a bunch of adults with the same sort of brain thing are just be like, yeah, sure, 7-year-old, come in and hang out with us. Like we're all talking about politics.
Because
or
then you would
whatever.
walk in and you're like, tut, yeah, because what, and then they'd put in your politic.
Yeah, but I
insights.
don't think
would respect
my
you?
friends would it would be hard to get friends because I don't want to hang out with a
Because your age.
7-year-old no matter how smart they
Well,
are.
that's what I'm saying. Like your adult friends, they wouldn't want to be friends with a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I'm saying, don't you think like your group of say it's not even your group of friends, they've moved on or it's a different world,
Yeah.
right? Like wouldn't it be hard to find people to talk to who were at your same level of having a 40-ish-year-old, experiences and brain? You would want to talk to people like that. But they wouldn't really, I would imagine, not really want to talk to a 7-year-old in a normal way of conversating, right?
I guess, and depending on how you kind of approach the conversation, you're like, I don't know. I think it would be an interesting experience and like navigating that. But yeah, you're right. You probably would be very lonely because you would be like, hey, let's go out. And they're like throwing a lunch pail at you. And you're
Right.
like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, exactly. You have like a Lunchable and your bedtime at 7:30.
But the other side of it is you probably could find some adults or even online friends, and then you would have that to kind of like supplement a little bit of that connection.
If it was that in real life, you would be super famous at some point, right? Because
Yeah.
if you were a 45-year-old and a 7-year-old was talking like a 45-year-old, like that would be, I mean,
Maybe
you just have a YouTube channel.
Maybe. There's some 45-year-olds like myself that indistinguishable
Right, between you and a 7-year-old, the conversation. Nice.
Yeah, sometimes I'd rather talk to 7-year-olds.
Hey, that there's nothing wrong with that either. I do like talking to 7-year-olds.
Judging so you want to go like in the past and like with your friends of now and be able to judge where they're going, like trying to put them on the right path to be like,
right,
Joey.
Oh,
bro.
so right. So you're back in, whatever you went to school. It's not like you shrink down to 7.
I think what you're trying to do is like put some seeds into the future, buy some stock markets and getting something ready to go, get yourself set
these
up.
Apple computers.
Yeah.
I heard gonna have a comeback.
You have 1 month and in kindergarten to get into the stock market.
No, it just becomes you have to stop 9/11. That's what it ends up being. Every time you go back into the past, you're like, what? You're just not going to dedicate your time to stopping 9/11? All right, fine. What a joke.
What other things could you do, though? There's so much other things you could stop. I don't know. That's a great one. All right, here's mine, Ryan. Are you ready for this?
Stop Reagan from being president.
Oh, my God.
Just,
as a kindergartner, you're not even 7. You're like
you got 1 month.
5. You're 5 years old. Stop Reagan.
That sounds like a movie I would watch. It's like Groundhog's Day.
Ocean 1.
It's like Groundhog's Day. You only get the 1 month to stop him, and you gotta just keep reliving that month over and
As
over
a 5-year-old?
again. As a 5-year-old.
Oh my God, how frustrating.
And like and you just in like 1,000 years in that loop until you finally figured out how to stop.
I love this story. I want to see it end now. Man,
like what would you do if you
just
had
imagining like this baby like crawling through like a vent in the ceiling with like all this gear on?
No, it would be like you, because you'd be able to talk and you would like run for president and beat President Reagan, as a 5-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
After, a million iterations of that month. You figure it out.
Yeah, it's doable. It's happening right now. It's some alternate universe at this point.
All right, that was good. Should we get into the news? We're half an hour into this thing.
All right, you don't want to hear my question. That's
no, that's right.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Yes, we got to get into it. What's something you thought you'd outgrow but you never did?
Video games, I would say, is probably a big one.
I don't know. Is that a thing you'd outgrow?
Yeah, I think people outgrow it, or
I think it's the way I dress. Like I don't like to wear like even my shoes. I wear blazers.
You have adult shoes. You have adult clothes.
I have adult clothes, but the way that I like compiled them together is comfort. I wear jeans. I wear like Nike Pandas now or Converse. It's like I always have to have that like kiddish thing in my almost, and sometimes like a gothic vibe when I'm outside of work. It's always like dark colors and blacks and things like that. So I thought I might have outgrown that and been all preppy, but nope.
I mean, this is what I wore to work. So I feel like even yours is more dressy and cooler than mine is. But I will say one thing that came up in the chat was like toys, and I always thought like, oh, you would like stop having. And I feel like I have sort of gotten over toys, but there's still like cool action figures that I want and Lego sets and that kind of stuff that that still appeals to me as an adult. Food I like. Laura said
seasons 1 to 3 of SpongeBob.
I feel like, I mean, you can extend that, I feel like, to maybe 5 or 6 even.
And even kind of talking about this, I know I don't know how many seasons were there of that. So my kids think I'm really immature. Like I put on my like maturity a lot during work and everything, and then I come home and I just like I annoy them. I know I do, and I do things like I'm like, man, you're annoying. You should stop that. But I can't help
You
myself.
can't help yourself from being annoying.
No,
You thought you would outgrow being
because
annoying?
I act like a little like
Oh, I
class
see.
clown of the
Sure.
house, and they're like, "Dad, are you serious right now? Could you like grow up a little?"
No,
And so I've had to stop that.
No. That's just because they're in teenagehood, right? Like
No, I'm legitly. Sometimes I do things super like I'm like, man,
cringy and terrible.
Absolutely, and even after in hindsight, I'm like, man, why did I do that? That's super like immature and cringy.
I feel like if you're in your own house, like you're not doing it like in
It's in the
public, you know, to them
No.
in front of their, you know, peer group. So
Yeah.
hey, I feel like that's good, and you're right there, ready for grandchildren. You know, like outside, you know, the already one. Like you'll be there to be like doing that kind of fun stuff or small.
Do the fun things.
Yeah, I feel like that's great.
I love the chat tonight. Thanks
Yeah.
for
Thanks
your
for everybody.
insights. Please
Yes.
keep it coming because we
Totally.
want to hear, and it helps direct what we're going to talk about. We have so much on the show's agenda tonight to talk about
Yeah, we
as
should
far
do
as
some
the
quick
news.
hits here.
We do need to do some quick hits. I just wanted to let everyone know what our main topic for
Yeah.
tonight is. So I've entitled it this week, "Who Are We When No One's Watching?" And the concept is around that, hey, we're always seemingly on this performance mode. And there's some psychology and insights around the idea of us performing all the time. And we'll talk about that, meaning that in the conversations and the social environments we're putting on a mask and we're acting specific ways, and then the concept of a front stage and a backstage. And we're just going to dive into this and like how it's been exasperated by some of the things we've talked about in the prior weeks, social
Yeah.
media,
Right.
the concept of what AI does, and it's going to be an interesting topic tonight, and we really love to have you stick around and talk about it because I think it's something even right now, Ryan and I before the show, is like, is this a performance?
Right.
Is this just a performative mask? Like before the show, we kind of talked with this energy and this
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah.
thing, so it's pretty damn realistic. But there is a performance to
Right.
this, and
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Yes. Yeah. I'm super excited about it. It's a very cool topic.
So let's get into the main news feed tonight. Ryan has something he wants to recommend to everyone.
Oh
Just
yeah,
so we
this is just at the top of the show. So at the end of the year, the Adam and Ryan show, the Hangout, does a sort of end of the year recap. You know, movies that we've been watching, games we've been playing, TV shows, and I was kind of thinking like, man, it'd be great to get some recommendations. We're going into the months where we have a little bit maybe more free time. We're going to have some breaks. I'll probably be watching TV more and playing more video games and watching more movies. And so if y'all have suggestions of things that, you know, maybe came out in, you know, 2025 or even I'd even take late 2024, that you really thought were amazing and cool and that we could even dip our toes into a little bit, right? Even to just sort of get a taste of it. We'd love to hear that. You know, you could definitely, put it in the chat or put it into Discord or whatever. But I was just throwing that out there. We need recs for the next couple months so we have cool things to talk about.
I love that. Books as well. I like
Yeah,
to read
books.
books. Books
also
are listening
good.
to those.
Yeah.
I did actually get to watch the new Superman, which I didn't think I was going to get to watch.
Hey,
So I did.
I'm a James Gunn fan, so I like the new Superman. I thought it
Claire
was good.
Obscure.
That's that one.
Yeah.
That was the video game that was blowing up in our Discord.
Well, it wasn't. Not only that, I had to quit Xbox because of their price hike. I might have to repurchase it.
Yeah. So here's what I did. One little quick Xbox story. I was like, yeah, screw Xbox. Like I had the ultimate one and it was going up for $20 to $30.
Yeah.
And I was like, forget that. I'll do the medium tier one, which is $15. You still get to play on live. You do all of that, but it's like half the amount of games. And I went, cool, bust it down to that. And they went, okay. And then I went to go play, and every single game that I was in the middle of playing is on the ultimate tier. I was like, screw you, Xbox. You took the only Xbox Game Pass games that are on there are like the worst ones.
Jeez.
So Silk Song gone, Keeper was gone. There was like multiple, the Jedi Knight one, like everything that I was playing was not available at that point. Boo.
I know. I am so mad about it. I did it in protest. I was like, I've had your stupid Xbox Live for this much time, and I pay for 2 of them.
Yeah. Because you pay
My
for
son.
Carson's, right?
Yeah. It's ridiculous. All right. So interesting. I'd love to do that. I started freaking Cyberpunk almost last year at this time, and then I just went on I had not been able to play it, and I'm mad about that.
Right,
because I wanted to play a lot of it.
I feel like I didn't follow you as much on Witcher, but I was following you like video to video on Cyberpunk. I would like to see you finish that, because you were not that far from the end, I don't think.
Really?
I think maybe you were like 70% of the way there, and maybe 30% left.
I was doing a lot of side missions.
No, that's true. That's true.
It's something I'm gonna definitely jump back into, and I just hate that Witcher 4 though. I might really try to continue doing Witcher 4 as because when it comes out, I might just do the whole live stream. We'll see where it's at.
That'd be amazing.
All right, this is a quick one. Who out there on Monday got affected by AWS?
I did.
Yeah,
there's work things for sure.
So if you don't know what AWS, it's Amazon Web Services, and there was this gargantuan outage that happened on Monday. So a lot of us walked into work with certain systems that are down, that are in the cloud, like a huge amount of our web in terms of just what we all experience out there was not working.
No. I mean, there was definitely applications that I use every day and couldn't get to them at this point. I'm sure as someone in your position at the university, this was a freak out moment, if I had to guess.
So I will tell you, one of my roles is I oversee what's called ITSM, IT Service Management.
Okay.
And one of my roles currently is I am what's called the incident manager. So when you have major incidents,
I see.
I am there no matter what time of day, 24/7. There's an incident, I jump in and I have to lead the incident in a lot of capacity. And so like work with other groups and say, okay, what effects are here? This is when we're going to check in. Here's the update. This is what we're doing. And so I walked into Monday straight ready, and it was like my entire Monday was messed up because of this. And so interestingly enough, like we weren't affected crazily, but there was an entire learning management system completely offline at Fort Collins, which was rough.
Yeah.
But one of the things that it made me think about was a couple things. Is, you know, what really truly caused it was a lot of the speculation around the internet. Yeah, so early on, but because it went all day, like for a lot of people. And one of the early kind of things was like, oh, they got hacked. There was a hacking thing. Now, none of this is all speculation at this point. So, and then that kind of got dispelled really early on. But then there was this other conversation that's been building some steam, still speculation, but the concept that they had just fired like 600 employees.
Oh, that's right.
And they're like, this is what brain drain does. There was a very simple thing that broke and nobody knew the like historical parts of it. They were outsourcing it to AI or whatnot, and they weren't able to keep it going.
Does Amazon have to tell their people what happened, or like their customers, I guess? Because like we are kind of, you know, all those web services are customers of Amazon. Does Amazon have to say it was an internal issue or something, or it was a hack, or it was, I wonder.
I think there's probably some stuff now on their site. They talked about DNS issues. So that's domain name servers, basically the way that you translate the little pretty names that we put in .com into a number behind the scenes so you can get to the right stuff. You know, and I see in this chat, they talked about like, there was a lot of layoffs going on. Meta laid off a bunch of people too, but there was some Amazon layoffs that also were part of this. And so, it was a DNS update, is what they said.
That doesn't seem out of the ordinary necessarily.
No, it's like one of the top things that creates issues. But I just thought this was interesting because look how much we put into a service where like half of the web essentially goes down when your services aren't up. It's kind of scary to think about how much we put into that.
It's why monopolies like that are a bad thing, right? Because one goes down or one has an issue and everyone's on it, then you know, everyone goes down. It's just another reason monopolies are bad.
So we're going to skip that one and we'll just keep on the Amazon train because Amazon has also done something interesting. We talked about this earlier on. They are investing in nuclear.
Yep.
By 2039, they are going to be creating these SMRs. And we actually looked this up on the show. What the heck is an SMR, might you ask? It is a
segmented.
No, it's a small modular reactor.
Okay.
And so it's 5 gigawatts of power by 2039. But what it essentially is, and I can throw in the
2039. Like, does it take 14 years to build a small modular reactor?
I don't know. Oh wait,
I guess
I forgot I have this
it must.
this little guy here. I thought this was like an interesting little chart that we got.
So we have Mr. Burns power plant on the left as the large.
This is Power Rangers.
This is Power Rangers in the middle, and then nuclear suitcase on the right.
Yeah, it's smaller than a semi. But I thought it was interesting to see, like, so they're investing in developing 4 of these. And
I mean, every technology place is knowing that they're going to be in a energy, crunch coming up, and you can't really argue against nuclear energy being coal producing and stuff like that, because obviously it doesn't produce CO2s. It has some maybe bad track record in other ways. But the craziest thing to me is even thinking about something 14 years in the future, which with the way that we are going, like, is their robot army going to be building it in 14 years? Like,
that's actually a really good point. And in reading through some of the article pieces, they're looking to expand to 12 reactors.
Yeah, I mean, this is where the sci-fi always goes. Well, it's a you got to build a space elevator and put your giant mirrors up in space to collect energy. I mean, that's how the Matrix started.
And I mean, there's some clear concerns about the nuclear waste and the way that they
Sure.
talked about it. I heard like something about nuclear waste and some discussions they're able to put it in a cube, like a glass cube. Like squish it down. I don't know if this is real and I'm talking out my butt, but I read an
bury
article
it or something.
No, I think they put it in certain areas, but like it stops its reactivity as much, and how they do whatever this is that I'm talking about. But imagine like whatever this nuclear waste is getting smashed into this cube that you go hide away.
Shoot into the sun.
I always think that too. Like shoot that sucker in the sun until it explodes and like puts all the stuff across the entire globe. And
You're like,
dead.
oh.
not good things. So interested. We got nuclear power coming in.
I feel like that we're just gonna hear more and more of that.
I really like this next one that Ryan brought up. We're trying not to get so much AI. We have a couple hits on AI tonight, but this one is not AI.
Yeah, this was I thought an interesting use of like augmented reality technology, in a way that I hadn't heard it being used before. But once you hear it, you're kind of like, duh, of course. What this was is there's a museum. Right. And the museum had different art pieces, obviously, and some of them were being almost like protested by a group. They were saying it was like, either stolen or there was, issues with the art and who created it and all of that. And so what they did is they created an augmented reality sort of app, I guess, or program. And you could go in with your phone, and when you would hover over certain pieces, it would give you more context for that. Like it would say, yes, this is what this, the painting is saying in its little thing, but here's like more context on top of that. And, from our position as this protest. And I just thought like, man, we're going to get to a time when there are just literally we're all wearing augmented reality glasses. I think we're like getting there. I could see in the next few years a lot of those being way more mainstream. And it's interesting to think about a protest going in and saying like, instead of just my normal augmented reality stuff that I'm getting from this business, what do I get it from my, the protest outside? They might have their own program and say, hey, if you want to experience this in the way that it was truly meant to be seen, here's an augmented experience for the place that you're in. So just like an interesting new cool way of not only even protest, but also just technology in ways that I didn't think it would be used.
I think that's an awesome kind of concept, and it gave me a lot of feels when he talked about it, because you see, I don't know if you've seen these, but protests where they come in there and they like throw
red paint or
blood on a painting, and then you're supposed to be like, oh my god, like this news article got drawn up from it, whereas this is like a more slow burn. And one of the concepts you described would be like, imagine having VR glasses or AR glasses, like glasses like I'm wearing right now, and walking through this space and seeing like a person standing next to a painting and talking about it. Or as you look at the painting, there's something overlaid on the painting itself, or some like little scene that happens. And every way you look at it, you're getting to see it at different angles. And what it reminded me is Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
Did you remember that show?
Yeah.
And like he's walking around, and because he didn't pay his bill, ads are everywhere.
Yeah.
And then he like pays it, and then those all disappear.
Yeah.
And I just like the concept that we're going to be going through the same physical spaces together, but being able to see different things. And like we're going to experience space in different ways. And actually that could be a whole nother topic for another time, because we talk about alone together or like being in similar spaces to develop kind of a relation. Like we're in the same space and now we're experiencing it completely different because of what's in our eyes and our head.
There would be no shared experiences, right? You would go to the museum and see a different experience that I would go to the same museum, right? And you know, that's a scary thing to think about. But I do like this idea of, you know, I always thought about it as, oh, the organization that I'm going to would show me what I'm going. But it's like, those are my glasses. I could do whatever I want with those, right? If I say, no, don't show me that, show me the protest version or show me this version of it, then you're like, great. Now, the bad thing is, do I want to have people going to the museum and seeing their like, disinformation, you know, bubble, like, you know, version of things, and then they're being like, yeah, I'm looking at this, you know, and it's just feeding into some kind of, you know, misinformation cycle that they're already in. No, I don't necessarily love that, but you know,
see, you know what? Damn it, you just like had to pee all over my like sweet vision of the future.
Your utopia, your AR utopia.
Because I could imagine that, like, you have some like very impactful, like maybe even scientific description of something, and you go in there and like it's totally like whitewashed with some weird religious propaganda.
Right, exactly.
You're like, oh my god.
You're like, the museum is trying to show you things, and you know your augmented reality glasses are telling you a different thing.
It's a totally another thing. So Disturb makes a good point, is I didn't put in my
oh yeah,
my
but
Inktober.
Should we pause real quick to Inktober? So Inktober is still, we're going strong. We're 23 days into Inktober. Amazing people are posting things onto the Discord. There's a lot of really good ones today. What was today? Firefly?
Is Firefly Disturbed? You and I. Right here,
man.
buddy.
You had the
you beat me to it, and I had it, and I could have posted it. Good job. We just duplicated each other almost to like a T.
Man, okay, well,
gotta butter this one up. Go in the Discord if you want
to
see
go
what
to our
this
Discord,
is.
double drop down, and see what Adam and
like
Disturbs.
literally. I gotta show Ryan this.
Man,
like that's almost like exactly.
It's like your two different styles, but like for the most part,
we just did the same thing.
If you were looking at the exact same drawing,
and you know, I didn't like copy you because it was in the stream. You posted that while we were in this stream, and then I already had mine on the dial-in. Good job.
Good job.
Go
guys.
see what Adam's Firefly is about if you want to know what that's about.
All right.
I can't believe we copied each other.
So good.
That exactly. That's hilarious.
Amazing.
Inktober's been awesome, though.
Yes.
If you haven't been part of that, we've had some amazing entries across the board.
Yeah. 1 week left.
Absolutely. Like we have Stealth Mouse has been doing journalings in her notebook at work, so very microscopic versions.
Totally.
We got Disturbed that's doing a lot with different alcohol-based ink markers.
Yep.
We got Laura that's doing ones that
Hands?
are, oh my god, it's the Handtober.
Yeah.
For there.
I love
we
that.
got Ryan.
And then, of course, Adam and I are in there.
You've been doing yours in the little micro notebook. And
tiny little notebook.
The thing that's cool, though, is that you've done a couple where I'm like, damn, that's good for like that small of a space.
Right. It forces me, and we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this on the we should open with the charity stream, too. We should have talked about that.
Well, here's the deal.
Charity stream.
We got Disturb Shifty coming on the show for Extra Life, and we're going to talk Inktober, and we're going to do a whole.
We're going to do a whole hour retrospective on 2025's Inktober with the one and only Disturb Shifty in the chat.
Hell yeah, it'll be a good time.
All right, next.
We are nailing
next
through
news.
these. Yeah. Oh my god. Do we know?
Oh man. All right. Well, so Jason Allen, a Pueblo resident, and has been on our show before.
Physically on the Double Drop Down.
Has been on the Double Drop Down show. Interviewed by Adam Pocious and Ryan Higley on the Double Drop Down show. What was early sort of person that made it big in AI art news because he won a Colorado State Fair first place prize or something like that for one of his AI generated Midjourney art pieces. And, basically they changed a bunch of rules in the Colorado State Fair, and it became this whole big thing. It was written up in the New York Times. It was in all these places. And so then his big crusade going on, between then and now has been, he is trying to get to be able to copyright AI generated artwork. And so his big thing is that he was saying that there's like intention and effort that gets put into creating the prompts for that. Yeah, you can see Obscura. No, Theater de Opera Spatiale.
Yep.
So that was his one that went into the state fair. And so yeah, he's basically been like throwing a bunch of legal things and trying to get AI artwork made so that it can be copyrighted. Now, I don't know how I necessarily feel about that, like, endeavor or the way that he is taking it, but in the last week, like, he sort of got dealt another blow, right? Do you want to talk about it, Adam?
I mean, he basically got shot down on being anything copyrightable. And one of the things is he had provided, and I don't know why 600 is the special number on the show tonight, but according to this, 600 different prompts that he had done to Midjourney. And then he cropped and he scaled it. So he talked about the manipulation he did to get to this thing, and he wanted to be able to sell oil reproductions of it.
Sure.
Likely because of the popularity of this coming together.
Totally.
And the things
and he was at sort of the tip of the spear of this kind of stuff, and not not anything necessarily, but he was like at the moment where this became in part of the conversation. And I feel like he wants to take that as far as he can, and feels like he has, somewhat of a case to be made. But yeah, I'm part of this too is, I don't know. I mean, we have talked about this before, right? Of like what AI, how it, takes from other artists, right, to build something, and the amount of effort that it takes to put into creating something like this is probably just not enough to be copywriting things, especially when it's built on other people's artwork. They haven't agreed to be part of this. So I don't know, like, do you think this sort of comes to the end of this kind of stuff? I imagine we're going to keep having these.
I feel like it's going to be a constant back and forth. And, one of the things that they're saying is that he was influencing kind of the general perspective of it, but it wasn't down to those lines. Like, it wasn't original work of authorship. So, like, you might be able to debate like Firefly in, not to be
right,
for Inktober, but
yeah.
in Adobe,
Adobe's.
As you start to do certain things in some of those different platforms, and then you use AI to augment a piece of it. At what point does it become your artwork, or you relinquish all copyright?
Yeah, because like let's say I took a picture and I selected 3/4 of it, and I said, AI, in Photoshop I could say, AI, come up with a new background for this, or come up with a new, and it came up with something different. Like, they talk a lot about in YouTube videos, like, can you upload someone else's YouTube video and you doing commentary over the top? And they say, well, you got to be adding something to that commentary to be able to say, no, the reason that people are interested in this piece is not because of what the original artist is, because of my, what I did to change this piece of art into something else. And there's been a ton, like, those YouTube videos are, sometimes the person comments one word over the top of it, right? They watch somebody else's video, they say one word over the top of it, and then you're like, that person's video that said one word got 70 million views and my original video got, 10,000, and you go, what the hell? Like, the only reason that his video got popular is because of my video, and the person who got 7 million views would say, no, the reason that your video got popular at all is because I'm a celebrity who's on it, and I'm saying a word and I'm putting it out to my millions of subscribers. And that's the only reason it got 7 million views is because of me, because of what I added to it. And so I feel like all of that is very up in the air of what really changes something. And I don't know what that is. Like, I feel like we're going to be having arguments and lawsuits about that for forever.
It is. Have you seen, like, let's talk about that for a second. I'm sorry. Like, people that literally are sitting there watching a YouTube video, like, how is that a thing?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, they say a thing. There's people that literally just have their face there at the bottom and they're watching a thing. Have you seen this?
And they make no comments?
0 comments.
And they make no facial features?
No, they just like, and done. Done.
I mean,
I'm like, what the F?
Yeah. See, and so that feels like not adding enough, right? Like just having your face next to somebody else's. Like if Brad Pitt takes a picture of himself in front of the Mona Lisa, that doesn't make him being able to own the Mona Lisa likeness with his face next to it.
Oh, you know it does, sir. Hey, just a quick question. Because we didn't even talk about this. But did you do anything with Sora 2?
I did a tiny bit, but I didn't do very much, to be honest. Do you want to show some
I feel
Sora
like this
stuff?
is a diversion. We did not talk about this before the show. Do you want to see some of the things I did on Sora 2?
Okay. Let's see it. So Adam's son got an invite to Sora 2 somehow, and then he gave me an invite, and so we've had invites to Sora.
You're talking it up, and it might be fail on us at this point. It was beta, and Ryan was asking for it, and then I was talking to my son. I was like, "We're trying to get Sora 2." He's like, "Oh, I got invites for you, Dad." I'm like,
"Nice,
really?
Should I have one?
You could give me one of those." So I'll show you some of my. You down for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
You seen this? All right. So it's very interesting because it's like a TikTok.
Yeah.
Or it's like a YouTube Shorts.
Yep.
So if you watch, I guess there's sound on this too.
Yeah, Disturb Shifty talking about those ones of Tupac talking to Mr. Rogers. I did see some of those.
This one was interesting because this is my first Sora 2 video. And I was like, man, what can it do? Oh, it can throw a Inktober in there. And I was like, make this. And so it kind of had a cool little thing, little fingers moving around, doing the thing. So that was the first one that I did. And then I was like, all right.
Get shredded. Yo, we fighting with some fire wheels will scream. Paper in the teeth, no brakes, I'll scream.
They wrote a
Welcome
whole
to the ride, let's get
song and
shredded.
everything.
Yo, we fighting with some fire wheels will scream. Paper in the teeth, no brakes, I'll stream. Welcome to the ride, let's get shredded.
Adam, this bro is doing the most epic TikTok dance for the intro of the Twitch stream.
It is like I was so surprised. Like the strings are bouncing.
Yeah.
He like has his tongue that came out that I never drew.
Oh, that's right.
Like this whole thing, like the cheese is coming out. I was impressed with this one. I was like, good job.
Good job.
Can I go to the next one? This one was funny because the other one farted. I noticed that. All right, so that's where I started getting to a point of I don't know how to like back out of this on the browser. Okay, I guess we'll go here. So those are the first two, and I was like, all right, I want to start doing prompts. Oh no, I did another one. I thought this one was really good.
Yeah, so Adam had done for Inktober what Sting?
Scorpion wins.
And for those listening to the podcast, you should really come and watch the video. But I mean, it's animated a whole 2D fighter based on one drawing from Adam.
That was not colored either.
Yeah.
The fact that it does that is freaking amazing, I thought.
And like their bars are going up and changing as they get hit, and it's pretty good.
That was a great one. All right.
Squirrel Pig.
Squirrel Pig is the thing that my son and I have been doing, and that we have a lot of memes that go back and forth with
About Squirrel Pig?
Squirrel Pig is a thing. I have a whole bunch of emotions on Squirrel Pig. So I was trying to do him to have the floss dance.
Yeah, he's too fat.
He's too big.
He's too fat. He can't.
he
can't even reach his arm to his back to do
he
the
cannot.
floss dance.
No, have you seen this one?
No.
So I was like, all right, Raging Gamer. And
He's
Pick
like,
me again, bot, I dare you! Oh, come on, lag! I'm literally beaming him and it doesn't wreck. Burst him, burst him, burst him!
man.
Yes, sit down! Bro, I'm built different. Wait, what? He spawned behind me? Nah, I'm done. One more away. That hitbox is trash! Pick me again, bot, I dare you! Oh, come on, lag!
yikes. That is very cringy. How long does that go on for?
I think it's a 10-second. It was
10
right about
seconds.
to
Okay.
go back.
All right.
I mean, from a rager, that
Sure,
seems
I
like
guess,
something that they could
you
do.
know.
And I thought that one was. Oh my goodness, did I go too far? Oh, I went to the main one. Okay, so then my son was. My son, I don't know what it is. He's in high school. His name is Pig. Or
Okay.
Pigsty. That's his thing. So pigs are all his thing. That's why you've seen a
Okay.
lot of pigs in this, because he's all about it. So we were like, oh, let's do a ghost pig as though it's a realistic Ring doorbell thing.
Oh.
It's a pig.
It's glowing. That's not a pig.
It's looking right at the camera.
Oh my god. Yeah, are you seeing this?
Sure.
It's
I mean, realism-wise, the camera looks real. Now the pig, it just looks
Sure.
but like a little ghost pig there, like little
Yeah.
lights in the background.
Well, like it understood, what people should be saying in the background. I mean, you didn't write any of that.
None of it. I was, and I don't think I fed it. But see, there have been some trends on this where they were like Ring doorbell was the thing.
yeah.
So if you'd be like, do this in a Ring doorbell, you'd get a lot of them.
Yeah.
This one was us just being silly because this buddy is called the cow, and so we had to
they're
do
racing.
it racing, but we were like, let's make it funny, like they're hovering.
Okay.
So
They're off the ground and flying down the dirt. The pig's out quick, ears back, snout in the wind, but the cow is matching pace, bell ringing all the way. Look at that glide, folks. Halfway to the line.
They're
off.
they crossed the finish line like 4 times.
they absolutely did. So this is where, okay, if you take my journey, experimentation. Oh, I got Sora. Let me chuck some pictures that are on my phone recently. Did that. Okay. Oh, here's 2 images that were on my phone, because this one on the left was one that I had, and I fed it into there. It was
I
like
see.
Raging Gamer.
Okay.
Of course, my son at this point. Then my son and I are like sitting at the table, and we
Just
did
prompts.
these together and prompting 2 prompts. And then I was like, oh man, I want to do some cool stuff in terms of like aliens and like the old VHS style. And so I was like, let's do it. And so I just full prompt on this one. Let's see here. It's like a guy
Hold on, man, I'm coming.
Don't, it's pulling too hard.
Oh God, look at him.
It's getting abducted.
He's
Getting
almost.
abducted.
It's taking him.
Oh my God. He's going up. So
This one I feel like not great.
Not great. Like the girls like all messed up. Everyone's like sitting watching it, but not helping him at all.
And he just looks like frozen, like he's like a bad After Effects getting pulled up into the.
Lady's taking a picture of it, like, hey, let me take a Polaroid
But she
of
doesn't.
it.
But she doesn't change. She just keeps taking pictures of the crowd as opposed to following it up.
So then I went to the zombies. Really loud.
Zombie. Sort of like Resident Evil.
I was
zombie.
thinking it felt like I tried to say like in the forest zombie, more like a realistic one. I was trying to
Yeah.
do like
Well, 'cause
found footage.
Yeah, exactly. It has like that kind of date in the corner, and it's not very shaky. which
It
is
wasn't
always the
shaky. It didn't
problem.
look good. Okay, so then I went back to the rage gamer concept just because I like it.
Oh, you think you're slick? Boom! Eat it! Oh yeah, that's good. No. Get out of the corner. Move. Ah, come on, he's
man.
one hit.
So
Ah,
good.
fine.
It does. Disturbs is like it does feel very Garbage Pail Kid.
This one had that
Coded.
flame. But see, one of the things is these are images that I created in ChatGPT and
Oh.
then fed it into this, and I was
then
trying
it just
to animate
like
it.
it just sort of like basically showed you them as a slideshow.
Yeah, I was
almost.
like, I wish they would have. I was trying to get him to talk and do some stuff.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting on this one. Okay, if you join the Discord, Ryan,
You're on the Discord. You know this one.
he goes and puts in this Lego tower, and all I could do is hear it falling. So I had a story about this one because I went in and I was like, I want to see this Lego tower fall, and they're like, sorry, we can't do that. There's a person in the picture, and we don't allow any humans in the picture.
What?
So I had to crop out the kid
I
from the
see.
picture, and I used AI on this weird square you're about to see is where I used AI to replace it. And somehow the AI that then I fed in the AI picture somehow knew that like square had been AI'd.
Yeah.
And then they messed it up even more. So here it is. If you want to listen to Legos Falling.
Yeah, that is good. It does sound like
gave
Legos
up.
falling.
Did you hear what he says at the end?
He's like, bro just gave up.
That thing just gave up.
Oh, that thing just gave up. It does like moves the box a little. Like it moves the green box that it's falling into. Anyway, this is the giant Lego tower that my friend sent me from as she was walking around her Toronto neighborhood. And someone had just built that and put a bunch of Legos out next to it. And you could just build onto this random tower in front of someone's house. I don't even know if it's around.
I don't think it was.
I don't think it's around.
It made that up.
Like it made up that it was around a concrete beam.
It did. All right, I know we're burning time.
We're burning time. We're gonna have to put like.
But we haven't shown
yeah,
good
exactly,
stuff before.
Exactly. I'm fine with skipping some ad or some.
So this one at work, we were like doing some crazy thing, and I just was like, "Oh, I got Sora too. I could like do a quick meme of our conversation. Like, we're of course at work, you're solving all the world's problems. I think this was during like AWS or something. And so here's what we said.
Might reroute traffic long enough to rebuild the link.
I'm pushing the new config. Watch the
Fragment
compile.
stitched. Still holding?
Data flow stabilizing, 100 to go.
This node's throwing errors across 3 services. It's like the whole fabric is torn.
If we patch here and here, we might reroute traffic long enough to rebuild the link.
Oh man, that was the AWS outage. That was behind the scenes. We got this, baby.
the fabric was tearing.
Oh, it was so bad. All right, so then I was showing somebody about they're like, all right, I don't trust about these AI things, but put a cat on a chicken.
Yeah,
I thought this one was one
that
of
looks
the best.
great. It's a cat riding a chicken. Like, I mean, there's like, honestly, maybe the cat is a little too still at some points.
Man,
it doesn't
that's
like
so
go up, but like you're
good.
nitpicking. Like if somebody was just like, hey, this is a video of my cat riding a chicken, you might get, you know.
That is absolutely.
I feel like
what-
someone over the age of 60 could get fooled
the
about
little
that.
meow in it,
Yeah.
like the little story elements,
Right?
So good. I was like, oh
Really
my god,
good.
we are such.
That's a great one. And what was your prompt for that one? It was like realistic cat riding a chicken.
That was
Really,
it.
That was it.
That was it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I have no.
Simpler the better, maybe. in that
I feel
sense.
like I'll show you what my profile is. I was like, I used to be creative, but now AI's come out. Here's the AI slop. It's coming.
we should do an hour or half an hour of just us prompting Sora 2 during,
should
during
absolutely.
the stream, during the 24-hour stream.
I only
add
have,
that to the agenda.
I only have a couple more.
Okay.
But this one I was impressed with. It goes into the game. Like I said, make a Game Boy game.
Heading past the trees, jump, got it. Skeleton coming up, lantern swing, nice. Chest here, third key. Thunder.
None
Man,
of
this
those
track
things is
creepy.
what's happening on the
Down
screen.
the ladder. Uh-oh, phantom.
The ladder-
Charge shot. Yes, doors ahead, gonna use the key.
Okay, so it's clearly like a backdrop that's not real, and then like,
Yeah, that's
but
a
I
little
still
weird.
thought it looked pretty freaking good.
It did. It
His
does.
thumb's not moving on the right, so I was like, okay. Then I said,
Is it just like a trash fire in the middle of this bar? Like, look at his left hand. Down at the bottom.
I think that's like, that's supposed to be probably like a candle because there's some candles up here, and
Okay.
this is like some vampire that's like gonna do something. All right, then I got really excited apparently about chickens.
Yeah,
and-
cats and chickens.
This is
you were
good.
like, this,
Side by
well,
side.
that was so good.
Just a few strides to the wire. Look at those legs move. Clover's rider urging her on, but Hot Wing isn't quitting. The
Hot
crowd's on
Wing.
its feet. Neck and neck. It's going to be a photo finish. And at the line, Clover by a
I would absolutely watch chicken
Oh.
kitty jockeys riding chickens like chocobos. It's great.
I love this one. It's so damn cute too.
So
Photo finish, baby.
But why aren't these up on our double drop down YouTube
I will
shorts?
I will put
you
them
know?
out. Okay, so we're nearly done. I'm not going to do every single one of them, but I do want to show this one. So this one was interesting.
Yeah. I saw this one.
This is a Game Boy game.
Yeah. Render, like, again, it doesn't really make sense. It's sort of,
So it's getting souls And it kind of does make sense. So they're so
but then it doesn't die. Like it sort of dies weird. Like he doesn't hit it again to kill it, and then he just randomly goes into another level.
But okay, if you looked at it from just a glance, this feels like a Game Boy game.
Totally.
The background scroll, the fact that you hit it a couple and it bounces back.
It's very side scrolling, very repeated sprites in it, the coloring, all of that.
I was like, what the fish? I was really...
It's higher resolution of sprites than what a Game Boy Color could do, if I had to guess. But
yeah, I actually, that's a good point. I didn't call that. So we did get another cat on a chicken. I was trying to make
your
it better.
first one. I feel like your first one was the best.
And I added more to that one, of course, more work. Then I was trying to do. I'll end on this one. This one's good. Raging Caveman.
No! It's like, is he playing some kind of chess? Like caveman chess?
He's playing Caveman Rock Game.
Nice. Caveman Rock Game.
Oh my god.
It looks a little bit like chess, but with rocks. And he's very upset that he's losing.
He's very raged out on that one.
Anyways,
those are some sorry to throw that in the middle.
No, that's good.
Fun.
That's good.
It was worth it.
No, those are. I feel like we definitely got to do like an hour of chat helping us create Sora 2 videos for our channel.
I think we can put this one into the future, but could we just hit on these ones?
Whatever last couple that you
I feel like these two are good. So I'll do this one, you do this one.
All right.
Yeah, caveman spreadsheets. This one just terrify the hell out of y'all.
Oh, yeah.
What happened? We just talked about at the beginning of the stream, the AWS outage. Well, guess what happened to Jeeps? Special Jeep Wrangler 4E XEs. They're these plug-in hybrid ones. Well, guess what? Over-the-air update comes out. Boom, bricks your Jeep. Imagining, this is true story here, going 65 miles an hour down the highway, you're getting your OTA update on your Jeep, and then it shuts down.
I mean,
dead.
That it's like, how many times have you gotten a bad computer update, right? And you're like,
Bro,
oh man, I got to roll it back to the old
nurse
version.
Your car? What the fish is that about?
I assume his car just sort of like slowly slowed down.
I don't care,
as opposed to like flipping.
But the idea that your car shuts down because you got an update to your car.
Update. I mean, that just shows how much like technology is in cars now. That it's less analog and more tech. But you can't have things like that in real life. It's like it's why we can't have flying cars, because you can't have something like that happen. Do you? Obviously, we don't have new enough cars. I don't think any of us, like you or I, have new enough cars that would have these sort of updates that could entirely brick a car. But would this be something that would like prevent you maybe from purchasing a newer car if you knew that things like this could happen?
Definitely messes with my perspective. I'm not buying a Jeep for damn sure. I'll tell you that much.
My brother had a Jeep for a long time. Did not buy another Jeep. Let's just say
there's a lot of Jeep lovers, but they also love the fact that they're unreliable and they can.
Yeah, I feel like unless you could work on cars, I'm not buying a Jeep.
But I think it definitely makes me think about it. Like, it just frustrates me that an over the air update would totally brick your Jeep.
just stop you on the side of the road, and you have to.
They were saying
plug it back in.
It was targeting their infotainment and telematics system, but it affected the modules tied to the vehicle's powertrain hybrid system.
Oh yeah, that's a much more important system to your car than the infotainment.
Forgot to put that curly bracket at the end of that statement there. Oh my god. Probably AI writing it too.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
It's not. All right, so Ryan, this one's I'm interested to hear about this. This one's so good. I love this one.
So I read this story on Wired, and it had an interesting headline. The Zipper is getting its first major upgrade in 100 years. And you think about this of like, there are certain products where you're like, I just assume we kind of had figured that out for the most part. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if you think about a zipper, right? Like, there's a zipper part that zips up and zips down, and then it has like a piece of cloth that then you sew into the clothing, right? Like a zipper is a zipper. But after 100 years, there's this one company, and when I first heard about this, I was like, okay, there's this one random company that thinks they've reinvented the zipper. But actually what it is like this one Japanese company makes like a ridiculous amount of all the zippers that are used throughout the entire world. And so them coming up with a new way to do this and a new process for like adding it to clothing is kind of actually a big deal. Like, I mean, it seems like something that we might actually experience. And what this is they basically figured out how to take away that cloth in the inside that you actually use to sew it and sew the exact zipper into the clothing that you have. So it doesn't need that. And what that does is it just makes one, like the clothing sort of lay flatter and nicer, be able to, zipper could be used in lots of different, different types of clothing and bags and all of that it couldn't be used for in before, with different fabrics that it couldn't be used in before. And it makes it lighter. It makes it less material so that there's less like sort of waste that you have when you throw away a zipper, and also it apparently zips nicer, because you know how you're sometimes when you do a zipper and then the part of the lining gets caught in the zipper, apparently this like alleviates some of that because it doesn't have this extra piece in there that's getting clogged into the zipper. So I don't know, it's just one of those things where you're like, man, you think you figured out zippers at least, and nope, somebody else coming up with a new better design in the way that we live our lives and you know, interact with everyday objects.
Give me some of those new zippers.
I
want
can't
to
wait
see
to
a new
see
zipper.
one. It's like I'm excited for when I see my first new zipper out in the wild.
It sounds like one of the ways that they made it is that they also had the machine that helps like implement it is a part of it.
That's the whole thing, right? Because you can come up with your own zipper or whatever, great on you. But if that means that like every other company needs to now buy a new zippering machine, then like you're probably, you know, it's probably not going to go that far. But what they did is they were like, yes, you're going to have to buy certain extra pieces and extra ways that you're going to do this. But basically, I think they said like you're going to save so much more money and it's going to be a better product, and you're going to, you know, have a better, you know, feel for your clients and everything. And they built the machine and they're doing that part of it too. And so I think it's just, you know, it'll probably just be the new way that zippers are done, especially because that company does so many.
And it sounds like the challenge is going to be that, you know, because there's something new, there's that whole switch out period to get that new machinery in. So people are like, oh my God, how am I going to repair a zipper now? Or how is that going to work? So there's going to be some zipper game coming out, some disruptions.
Watch out. Disruption in the zipper market.
Zipper, you thought AI, you were immune from it. God, they probably created this new zipper.
That's probably, you know, you could be right.
They're like, how do I make the zipper better? Oh my God, that is such an awesome question. What you could do is just sew it directly into the clothing.
Do you want to start introducing this while I use the little boys room?
Oh my God! Did you just call it the little boys room? That was the intro to our thing now. So everyone online is gonna hear that. Edit that out, Ryan. Edit that out. Let's start like a proper show. Who are you? Oh shit! I screwed it up already. Who are we when no one's watching? That's our topic for tonight's show. We're pretty excited about this one. It got me thinking around the performance of real life. We're hanging out with you here tonight on the show, and one of the questions that I've had, or I ponder as I reflect in my own time, is that, you know, the times that we're posting on social media, the times that we're in social situations, we're in meetings, we're working with colleagues, how performative is it? And I kind of started to learn about this topic and these different perspectives on what this is about. There's a couple authors that we read over this last couple weeks here, and we started looking at this idea of, are we turning our lives into more performance and getting away from just having real connections? And so a lot of the things that we're going to talk about tonight are going to be around that kind of performance aspect of things. And then we're going to segue it into, you know, is it a connection that we're trying to develop, or is it something like in terms of an audience that we're trying to find? And then how do we start to reclaim what's real but still live in this environment that we find ourselves in? So Ryan, as I describe some of the show, one of the things that I think about is I don't know. I'm super reflective. I don't know if you're that way. Most people.
I have gotten more as I've gotten older.
And so these are the things that like get into my mind. And sometimes I'm thinking, you're in a situation with someone or you're at work and you're like, why the hell am I saying that? Or like you feel like you pulled this like mask out in certain ways.
Right.
And you're like, man, I don't want to be coming off like I'm an asshole in this situation. But so that's what got me thinking about it. So one of the ideas, and this is the one that started to drive me, is the death of cool. And that concept was around maybe the times before social media were there. We got to live through some of this, but remember in like high school, somebody could just be cool because of like who they were,
right?
How they dressed, how they acted. That guy's
there's some
cool.
Je ne sais quoi, right, about them that made them cool.
And in the time, maybe we can say like they were performative in a non-technical time of like they brought that persona out. They acted in certain ways. They said those kind of things. But they
dressed in a certain way.
But the concept was like you could be cool and you could be chill and you didn't have to go and be on Facebook. And that's probably the worst one. Like TikTok, Snapchat, whatever are some of the later kind of systems where you would want to be continually putting in content and being like, hey, I gotta put this version of myself out there so that I get some likes, so I can get some connection and get some attention.
Now I think this was probably, I mean, if you're talking about, so usually we start sort of pre-internet, right? Or like looking at it from earlier. And in this way, I say like sort of pre-internet, like you could do that with your sort of group of people that were around you. If you were in high school, right? Maybe you did put on a different persona, in front of your football team, teammates or something than you did in the classroom and whatever. And I feel like lots of people do that. But before social media, it almost felt like if I had to relate it to someone, I would say like maybe actors or singers or like performers in that sense. They were probably often having to put out sort of a certain type of persona out into the world, and because they had an audience all the time, not only when you're on stage or when you're performing, but then when you're doing interviews, right? Or when you're walking around in the public, you sort of have to put out this persona of who you are. And then I think that's where you get a lot of that like cognitive dissonance, right? That like actors and things like that feel, where you're like, where does that end? Where I'm this person and this character who so that I can stay famous or that I can like keep, doing my art the way that I want to. And when am I on the opposite side of that by myself? Who am I then? And I feel like if you have too much of that outside into that acting is the performance of you and not enough of the introspective inside of you, that's when it can start getting bad, let's say. And social media might have pushed us all in a little bit in that direction.
Well, and I would start with saying like, I think we would get to social media in a bit, and I didn't do the necessarily past, present, kind of future perspective, but I kind of wanted to like kick it into these different layers of kind of like what the performance is, and then like the connections that we make and why we may do that. And so one of the sociologists that had this theory was this Irving Goffman, and one of the earlier ones that they talked about was that they argued that all social interactions are performative. Right. And in the sense, and I kind of mentioned a little bit of that, but that we play these roles for these different audiences. And like, in a great example is at work. You might be at the front of the store. Let's say it's a relatively newer job, or you're working in retail, and you're like, oh yes, let me get you that that Coke for you. Thank you, sir. Right. It's been so nice. And you turn around and you're like, Jesus, that son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have this backstage self that's more of this other real self, but at the same time, that's still performative for those other people you're around, because you're then now
in
showing
the back, right?
in the backstage. That's also something that you're thinking about.
Well, and to me, I feel like this. we all do this, right? It's something that we all do. And I don't feel like it's all bad necessarily. It's sort of part of how you learn what people like, where your people are, like who likes you for certain, how to act in certain situations. Like I wouldn't want to be the type of person that just says everything that comes to the top of my head in every situation and doesn't change at all depending on the situation. Like I feel like I almost do know people a little bit like that, and you're like, man, we're at this certain event, or we're at this kind of thing in our lives. Why are you still acting, in this other way? And so in some ways, like you kind of want this, right? Like you want to be able to portray yourself in a certain way in a business sense as a different than, drinking beers with your softball buddies, right? Is different than you at a conference talking with people at your thing. I feel like some of that just makes sense of how humans need to act in a society.
It's, social awareness. You're hitting on exactly, like, I think all of this makes sense. And there's a lot of other theories that started to develop after that. There was another one, and I don't have the lady's name that wrote this particular one. They even said that gender was performative, and that could be very controversial in this discussion. But the way that we start to take on specific norms based off of what you think a gender should be, and that we then basically embody the gender based off of some of those practices that we always say that you should be doing in that kind of a gender.
Even as, let's say I'm a male and I'm talking with a whole female group, right? Versus a male versus talking with a whole male group. I feel like you end up talking sort of differently with those two groups. Like, I don't know about you in education, but I feel like there's like I've had a lot of women colleagues in here than maybe I wouldn't have had in a different profession that I would go into, right? And so I feel like there's ways that you talk to all of those different people because you want to be accepted by them, right? Like you want to be like, yes, I'm in the group and I'm talking in the way that the group sort of is talking and how they're acting. And a certain group is sweary and drinking and, saying, stuff. And so you say that to that group. And then, this isn't even men and women at this point, but just sort of like different groups have different types of things. You're hanging out at the football party. That's different than, going to the baby yoga class.
and I think that, even coming from the chat, there's some interesting conversations here. It's like the pressure, right, to feel like you need to act in specific ways in certain situations.
Yeah, because then you're outside of the group if you don't act in those ways, right? Like there's a norm that people expect, and if you don't conform to that norm, then you're outside of that, looking in.
Well, and I also think that there's some negativity to like how that could be, and totally. To be fair, you said it earlier though, we do need to be able to adapt to certain social situations, but where it started to get a little interesting for me here is around like the concept of like growing in the online space more.
Right.
And I have a bad addiction I'm trying to break right now on stupid YouTube shorts. They're so mind-numbingly sloppy and terrible. It's so bad. And I'm like addicted to the bad. Yeah. I don't know. It's such like just brain rot candy. But thankfully I put this thing on my phone. It stops me after 30 minutes of being there. I put my phone down. I've been trying to practice.
Good for you.
It's hard. I'm really trying here. Yeah. But one of the things that got me thinking about too, because I get reflective in those moments, was the rise of main character energy and the concept that we're like narrating our own lives and having to like focus on curating it for everyone else. We have to constantly be interesting. You have to have an aesthetic. You have to have like some message. Like there have been even sometimes when I'm like, I'm going to play a game. You're like, but then my brain's like, are you going to stream it? You're like, that's not even worth it if you're not going to stream it.
Right.
And I'm like,
it's all content.
What? I know. Like, I'm like, you like nobody gives a crap. You're going to play your game on a freaking Saturday, bro. Go have some fun with yourself. Like, so my context around play starts to get messed up. Like, I don't feel like I could just go and have a moment to myself anymore because I feel like I have to be so performative. And part of the reason I feel that way is we're in this like attention starved kind of society now. Like we are looking for attention. I'm not saying me necessarily, but
Sure.
there isn't that what social media has become.
Yeah, I mean, it's the attention economy, right?
Yeah, we started to go in and start to say, oh, I could see what Ryan's doing. This is great. This is awesome, and it was fun. And then it became like Ryan's like, oh, I'm gonna only show the most awesome moments of my life.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, shoot, that guy's like living it up. I gotta show my most awesome things.
Right.
And it's always like that FOMO, and then it's like, and then you show something awesome, you get some up votes, or you get whatever you get in there, you get some thumbs up, and you feel great for a minute. You're like, people saw me.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. But then you start to build this unauthentic self, and you're always like looking in every moment. You're like, I'm gonna take a selfie at this point, and you're in a really bad situation, like not great. But you're like, if I kind of go here, and these two people are behind me, and it kind of blurs out, it's gonna look like I'm at a crazy party, and this is like a lame place I'm at. But it's gonna be awesome for the stream.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to me, it feels like humans have always been doing that, right? It's just we didn't have the platforms to do it all the time. Because, like, when you were in high school and you're walking around, like, you got to know that you have the right clothes on and that you have the right thing, that you're saying hey to the right people. And, you know, and in real life, you do that. You say, hey, I'm going out to a club, you know, to a concert. So I'm going to wear a cool thing and I'm going to act in a certain way. And I'm going to sort of talk to people in a certain way. And that's how we did it. But, like, at least in that sense, you had to be like going to a thing all the time, right? And most people aren't going to a concert every single night, right? Or they're not hanging out with, you know, an entirely eclectic group of people all the time that you're going to have to try to impress. A lot of the times you just be sitting at home, or you'd be with the same 3 or 4 people, right? And so in that sense, back before we had these sort of, you know, media platforms, you didn't have to be performing necessarily all the time. You had more backstage time than I feel like you have right now, because right now, you know, like you said, everything could be content. And so you're like, man, normally you would just be like, well, I'm going to sit here and play a game. There's no cool people next to me sitting here playing this game. So I'm just going to be myself and just play this game and, you know, curse at it if I want to, or scratch my balls while I'm doing it. And you're just like, yeah, that's fine. But now, like, you could be streaming that game on Twitch, right? So your brain's always saying that, hey, you could be doing that. And then if you are doing that, you're going to have to be a little different, right? That you're now front stage instead of backstage. And so we just like, there's more opportunities for us to be front stage than I think there were, you know, back in the day. And it's why you see a lot of actors back in the day that get burned out, or like don't understand, you know, and sort of have to go to psychiatry and have all these issues at that point because they have to be so front stage. But now we're all that person.
Well, and I think you're hitting absolutely on the paradox that we're talking about here. So if everyone's performing and nobody's really admitting that we're doing this, we're all in this performance mode, that it creates some mental health implications. So like, and so they talk about this. Young people are reporting this as authenticity fatigue. So like this exhaustive feeling of always having to be on brand. Like always having to be like in that exact moment. So if you imagine day in, day out, let's just put ourselves in the like the high schooler today. Mm-hmm. Like back in the day, you could have a couple off days. Now you go in and you get one day of getting your picture taken wrong, and that like changes who you are in a way. If you don't have if you got a bad haircut or whatnot. But here's another thing that's interesting. That cycle also lasts a lot less.
Yeah.
So because it's always about content. How can you feed the machine to keep it going of something new, something interesting that's out there? And so if you imagine like constantly having to find that new thing, like what am I going to do there? Like that's fatiguing, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like a YouTube channel, right, that is trying to come up with something new and different and crazy every single day.
Like every 2 weeks, some sort of podcast. That would be crazy.
And that was my thing. Like even talking about us, right? Like we do this every 2 weeks. You know, if say it blew up and we were like, now we're doing it every single day. You know, like we're that is our thing, and you know our Twitch channel and our Patreon or whatever is like blowing up, and this is our job now, is to do this every single day. I think it would feel way more fatiguing at that point. You couldn't be like, not every day am I going to be excited about what the different news is in technology and creativity and all the stuff that we talk about, right? Like sometimes I'm just going to be like, there wasn't really crap going on today, or like I'm not interested in it, or I'm bored, or I'm hungover, or I'm tired today, or things like that. But you would be like, nope, this is my thing. People are watching us. There's all these expectations, and so I got to be excited and whatever, right? And I feel like in our situation, I am genuinely excited to talk to you. For the most part, I haven't talked to you in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So I'm ready here to talk to my friend. 2 weeks is enough time for like interesting and organic things to come up in my life that I want to talk to with my best friend about. And so like that ends up coming off, I feel like, as more authentic. And even when we talk about ourselves as a show, like, Say it did blow up and we were trying to do this every day. I don't think I would want to do this type of thing every single day because it wouldn't be authentic then, right? It would be forced and it would be this thing that I would be doing for a job. And I feel like you would be able to tell, I think.
So this brings up an interesting concept that I want to talk about is that do we get so performative in our lives that we start to believe our own BS? Like we get so stuck in this kind of a crawl that at some point all of our audiences, anybody that we like present to has to be based through this lens that you build for yourselves. And so in your example, like we are double drop down.
Right.
We always have to give that presence no matter who we talk to.
Right. Yeah, like anyone could be a fan, right? Or anyone could be a potential listener or watcher of the show. So in that sense, it doesn't matter unless I'm like sitting alone under my head, under the covers, like me talking to the mailman. Maybe I should have my little persona on and bring up this thing or whatever because he could be a fan, right? That's
it. So this is absolutely why I wanted to have this discussion with you, Ryan, because I feel like we're at this really awkward state. And we talked about social media. We talked about loneliness. We talked about these different aspects of like our sociology or psychology, the different ways we think. And that's why I want to talk about it, because it is something that's been out there. And like maybe for me, it's a quest to figuring out like what is the problem that we're trying to solve. So when we talked about social media and we talked about social media is eroding us and it's bad and it's in shitification, like that is an avenue. But then like, why are people on here acting like they're authentic and doing this? Like, think about the amount of time people have to put in to act like they're not putting any time. I just woke up today.
Right.
Like the freaking lights are on. You had to like probably do that shot 10 times. So to look like you just woke up out of bed takes a bunch of authentic times. How many pictures do you take before you post the one that you're like trying to look super nonchalant about?
Well, and that's just marketing, right? I mean, so is
Branding,
marketing.
yeah.
Like marketing is supposed to look like this hamburger is just the exact hamburger that you would get straight out of McDonald's, right? And you know that it's not, like, it's going to look grosser and greasier and smashed when you go to McDonald's, but like the commercial for McDonald's has to show it in its best possible light. And the thing is, McDonald's advertising is done by a whole group of people who get to just go home at night and be like, I don't give a crap about McDonald's hamburger. Like, that's what I do for my job. And it's a whole team of people, right? Whereas nowadays we're all our own agents, and we are our own studios of one, and we're going out there and we're trying to market ourselves and get those likes and get that attention that we want. And so then we become the people who are like, oh man, I got to show the best side of me. I got to show the best thing of me because that's what gets the most likes, right? But then also the bad side of it too. Like sometimes people are like, well, what gets the most likes? The bad side of me, right? Like not the best side of me, the side that's like a jerk to people or mad about things all the time, no matter what it is. And then I feel like that's even more destructive than trying to show yourself in the best light.
But it's another mask you put on to create new personas to like keep it. And I think it ties into some of the cycles that we see. And so based off some of the stats we look at, like the average trend cycle, 3 to 5 days.
Okay.
So if you imagine that people, even every 3 to 5 days, that's when they're having to really get their next performance out there or get their new kind of like post, and then they live it for that amount of time. And I think that feels exhausting. And, I'm going to be completely candid. Like I was in some of those trends, and I feel like our younger kiddos are in some of those trends. I see it now.
If you think 3 to 5 days is a short amount of time, imagine when it's AI trends. Those are going to come and go in an afternoon and be gone, and trying to keep up with that feels like an even harder ask.
So a question I would have is like, anybody know what is cool right now? Is like, give us a thing that's like performative out there that somebody's doing right this second. Are you seeing a trend on your feeds that you would be seeing?
I mean, are like TikTok dances cool, I guess?
Oh my God, that's so 2022, bro.
I mean, I'm not on short form video.
So one of the things that I've seen is, and this isn't.
Don't people still dance on TikTok? That's not a thing.
I'm sure they do. They like, you could buy things on TikTok. You could do so much on TikTok.
Sure.
It's like this crazy thing. But there's these trends that go through like waves that you'll see, where somebody will take like an audio bite, and then it's like a husband and wife that acts it out the entire time, or a kid and a dad that does the same thing, and then they go through the things, and you keep watching a bazillion of the same people doing the same thing, and now you're part of the trend.
6, 7? Is it 6 or 7? 6 or 7
I
things?
paid a bill the other day,
6 or 7
and it was
things?
67 to dot 67, and the kids like absolutely like make
or
this a
7?
67.
67?
Do you know what 67 means? I looked at this last week.
When I started hearing it, I had to Google what 6, 7 mean, and it feels like the most convoluted thing in the entire world. It's like, it's not a straightforward.
No,
like,
it isn't.
Here's
It's
what
nothing,
6, 7.
isn't
It's
it?
like basically nothing, and that feels like the best way. Like, as soon as something comes from something, I'm like, this is the worst. Like, I don't want it to be another Haktua.
Maybe I do. No, I mean, I feel like by the time I hear something, it's probably not cool. I'm not on the thing.
No, well, I feel like we are, because we
There's
have
nothing.
teenagers, right?
Yes.
So we're like one level down from knowing it, because we hear it very quickly, and then we can Google it and figure out like what it actually is. So I made a 6, 7 joke in a work meeting, and a bunch of like 50-year-olds with kids outside of thing went, right, yeah, the 6th or the 7th, and I was like, the 6th or the 7th, 6 or 7, and they were like, they did not get it at all.
Did
and I
anybody
was
get
like,
it?
no, like, well, and it was only like maybe 4 or 5 people on the call, and they were slightly older than me, and they had absolutely no idea what I was talking about with the 6, 7 joke, because I feel like I'm going to be sad when my children are older and I'm not getting those.
You don't
those
know
I
what
won't
the
be.
trends
Here's
are?
where my finger will be, not on the pulse.
So I feel like this is a moment to talk about a new word that I've been learning for my kids.
Okay.
And there's a way to do it. It's kind of hard. Let me see if I can do it. All right. There's a way to deliver it.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Bar right. Bar right.
That sounds like a Lord of the Rings word.
It's trying to say all right, but then they
right.
say ball right. And you have to do it with the right tone. I don't think I hit it 100%. Ball right. It's kind of like when you tell your kid, like, hey, guess what? We're taking away your phone tonight. Ball right. It's like a mad.
Okay.
Yeah, I like. What the hell are you talking about? Kind
All
of
right.
thing.
Okay.
I don't know where it came from,
one
but
from
you
the
heard it
kids.
here. Double drop down if you're not using it.
Hey.
That's the new slang.
I will say that I have a fun work thing, Teams channel with the Americas team,
Yeah.
which is a small sort of offshoot of the larger New Zealand team that I work with. And we share fun New Zealand or Australian slang that we've never heard before that comes up in programs or conversations or things like that, and it is always funny to see somebody put in something new and be like, yeah, what the hell is that? Like, I've never heard that before. Anyway,
I love where we're headed with this. And so the idea, though, is we went a little off track, but it also kind of shows that we get into these trends and we get into these moments where certain things get popular, and we'll perform those things as we go forward. Disturb Shifty, I just want to say I get your reference there. So you want a pretzel.
Little Mallrats reference. Chocolate covered pretzel. Yeah, like but don't you yourself end up having a hand that smells like ass? Well, it's a small price to pay for the smiting of one's enemies.
Classic. You know what we're talking about. Sorry.
It's a little inside joke there.
So let's talk about this, because as we start to think of this performance that we're creating, so there is a lot of other build onto these different performance types, and it's not necessarily the one leading theory. That was like in the 1950s, 60s that this theory was really taking root. But then there was a lot that had happened after that. And one of them, the ones that I didn't talk about, was the idea of constantly being watched. So we're in a very much more of a surveillance kind of state. We go into different places and you think of the cameras that are watching you, and they talk about like your performance now is also driven, and the way that you act is also driven by the idea that you're always being watched, not necessarily by an audience, but the audience of people that are like judging how you're doing something. It's like if somebody leaves money on a counter, you're like, this is a trap. They're like, I'm not going to take this.
It's performative that you go and, oh, whose money is this? Can I give this back to someone?
Or just not do it.
Right.
Like you have this perception that somebody's watching you and that you shouldn't do this task. And so they were saying, like, because if you go into any store and you start to think like, oh, there's cameras in here or in everything, and you don't know where they're at, you start to like build this persona in yourself. You're like, I need to act right.
Well, and everybody has a little tiny phone camera in their pocket, you know, too. And so the moment you start doing dumb shit in real life, you know that's going to be up, and maybe you're going to be the next viral sensation for doing something terrible or carrying out.
But so if you think of the performance we're talking about, now we're saying we're trying to create a brand for ourselves. We think about this audience that we're trying to perform to. You know, initially it used to be maybe just our family and our friend group, and now it's grown into this online kind of piece. And now we also have cameras that are watching us all the time. So it's driving this idea that you need to be performative and kind of in a rails in certain cases. Like there's not a real, like, what is the real you?
Right.
Like, how do you showing up?
Because I feel like there's two different sides of that, right? There's you being within the guidelines of a society that all has to live together and that we're a bigger society, right? There's more people around. And in some ways that's good, right? Like I know there was a time when one time we were driving in the car and a guy cut us off and Kathy and I gave him the finger.
Yeah.
And we then drove up next to each other at like a turn light, and the guy looked over at us like he was going to get out of his car and beat the shit out of us. And Kathy raised up her phone, and he was like in a work truck, and Kathy was like, I'm filming you right now. And he went to go in, and then he got back into his car, and we were like, that's right. you know, that's what happened. You can't do that now. Like we got you on video. We're going to do that. And so it kept him in the rails of society of, yes, we each gave each other the finger, but we also didn't like have a road rage accident, incident in the middle of the.
So I can't say if that's a good or a bad thing, but it's being driven by these other
actions
kind of factors.
Are being driven by the society and people watching.
So this kind of brought me into this perspective, and the theme of our next part of this is this connection or the audience. And so we've mistaken being seen for being known is the concept here. And so the idea that, you know, just being seen isn't the right thing. Like it used to be the thumbs up. It might be, oh, I got some credentials here, but that's not enough. Like it never filled you up. Like you have to now be out there and be known as somebody that does this particular thing. I'm going to segue into a little bit about like friends as adults. So they were saying that building, I don't know how, do you get new friends at this age? Is it hard for you, or do you build those?
I do find it hard, but it's another one of those things where you have to be intentional about it. It's not going to come to you like it did in college and high school. Like you gotta put yourself out there.
So we're super connected, right? This is a new super connected world, but we're having harder times of creating friends, and the friend groups are shrinking. This is based off some data,
Right.
where we're saying that no close friends are some of our society has no close friends, people that you would identify as like a best friend. You're like, I have some of these friends.
Right.
And I would even say, this is anecdotal myself, but my sons, they don't go out and hang out as much as you and I used to hang out.
Sure.
By this age, I would say like almost every night was me trying to get the heck out of the house,
Right.
go hang out with this dude,
Yeah.
or like do something not with my parents. Now they're freaking 16 and they're like upstairs and hanging and like with their friends on their devices, but they're able to like also curate their life to those friends as they go through that.
Yeah. Well, it makes it harder to sort of like bump into new friends, right? And sort of all of those things when you just do it online, but you know, still there.
Well, and I think what they're saying is it takes some more intention. Like you go out, you have to have a conversation. You have to actually be real. So if you imagine yourself always trying to get the right selfie, you're always trying to put the right kind of like content online. And now you got to go perform it in real time and like have a conversation, strike up a discussion, and try to build a friendship. You don't have the skill set to do that.
Yeah.
That you may have had in the past.
No.
So and then let's be fair. If we go back to the example of me like playing video games and be like, hey, is it worth it to play a video game and not stream it? Like as you start to build friends, you're like, hey friend, let's go hang out every Thursday. But guess what? We're never gonna hang out. We're gonna always do a stream show called the Hangout with Adam and Ryan.
and that's why our show is like, we try to keep it as authentic sort of as we can, because then that's what's interesting to us, right? Here's what I would say. If Adam was like, you know what would really gamify Twitch is if we were like a show about crocheting, because there's no 40-year-old dudes who do shows about crocheting, and there's a huge audience for people that do that. And we'd be like, oh man, there's a niche that we can get into, and it's about, we just got to pretend like we're super into crocheting, you know, and then we would have way more followers than we do right now. And maybe even, you know, like people would write about, you know, whatever, but you'd be like, yeah, but I got to pretend to care about a thing that I don't care about. And in that sense, like, not worth it.
And that's the thing, is that some people don't have that capacity to think that it's not worth it because they care about the actual connections.
Yeah.
And I would say that we're probably old people.
Sure.
We're like getting to the old style, and we're talking about like retro, and there's a bunch of like, there was people that would never listen to this. Like we've talked too slow for anybody to even like understand in certain cases. But one of the things that I see is that community becomes currency, and the concept that belonging in something isn't about friendship anymore. It's not about the relationships that you build, but it's like, hey, by knowing this person, now they're a follower. Now that we're in a situation where we can continue to build this brand together. And it's not real, and I hate that perspective, honestly. Like I hate that that's where certain pieces in society are moving. So it's that's
all marketing. That's just a job of marketing. But now you are taking that job of marketing and applying it to your real life, and that sucks. Because marketing is a job. Like that's how business deals get done, and that's how all of that stuff gets done. But if you're thinking about it in the way of like, that's how my life works, then I feel like that's where it's sort of that's where we've all gotten to. But that's not good for your psyche.
It's not. And I would say that if I were to be, you know, transparent and revealing and vulnerable, it's like, I feel like that's where some of work has gone. Like I could go and do a really great job at my job and just try to grind it out, but it doesn't matter until I brand myself up and I market it out and like, look at what I
make the right
done.
Connections and
it feels like, can I just be like, focus on excellence and do some of the good things? Why do I have to spend all this additional effort to brand myself in a way that you can now have a sound bit, or, you know, oh, I did those wins, now that's the value in it, instead of the actual output of what I was trying to accomplish. And so that like that really kind of chafes me. And that's why I want to have this discussion around like, what are we doing here? Like if the connection, you know, we're performative, then it's because we're trying to do it to an audience. Yeah. And that's the kind of interactions we're having. It feels really sick. And Disturb said it earlier. Like, I don't know if this is a timeline I want to be living in.
Right.
If this is where it's at. Now, Do I think it's so dire that this is like what everyone's doing? And I don't really think it is. I don't think every single person, but we see a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it feels like it starts to cheapen some of the experiences that we have. And the other side of it is I get addicted to some of it for some reason
Sure.
because of the feeds that I get stuck in and the dopamine releases that it has happened.
I would say it's also too, just because we have more people. Say instead of working where you work that has thousands of employees, right? Say you worked in a shop with 3 people. Like, you probably wouldn't have to put on as many airs or have like a very curated story about you and an elevator pitch about Adam, because everyone would know Adam. They would know you. They would have hung out with you and drank beers with you probably and like known about your work, and you wouldn't have to put on that performance. The reason that you have to put on that performance is because when somebody thinks about Adam, they got to think about 1,000 other people that they work with and do things. And so it's nice to be like, what does Adam bring? Adam brings innovation, and Adam brings like a certain, professionalism. And like, that's what you want the story of Adam to be in people's minds, because they can only have a minimal interactions with you. They only need to know sort of the high level versions of you. Like it's like how when you're scrolling Reddit and you're like only reading the headlines, they only know the headlines of Adam. Right. And so you got to put that out there that says Adam is innovative and professional or whatever, you feel like is your thing. And you just got to hammer that home every time. So that's what people think of. And it's the issue with working in a gigantic place or being in the pool of a million other people is that like, they can only have a certain brand thing of you in their mind at one time. And that's what they're going to have to go with because they don't have the time or the capacity to know everybody in a personal way. They got to know the marketing tagline for Adam Pocious. And that sucks.
Well, and I just feel like that's the exhausting point that we're in at this stage of our lives. And it just cheapens some of those real moments. And or maybe instead of saying it the negative way, is it makes those moments more important that we have.
Sure.
Those connections that we do have that are authentic means so much more now because everyone's starting to get into this performance side, and we can see that gap or that.
Do you think we as humans can recognize the authenticity versus the non-authenticity? Like, if that ends up becoming something where like AI is just creating a bunch of garbage or whatever, like, are we going to be tuned enough to like seeing that this person is having a real, conversation about something and being actually vulnerable as opposed to just acting in that way because we're going to get so much more of it? I don't know.
I think there's always going to be some human deep-seated thing that's going to exist and we're always going to claw towards and I think no matter what we have, and it may go to a point where there's going to be one last drop of that. I do feel like it's slowly getting kind of like pulled out from what we're experiencing in this life, and it feels like it's been exponential in these last years as things have taken over. And this one is tough because a lot of the changes we've seen over the like centuries prior to this has been in like physical world stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas this is now in this whole nother like mental game. It's a whole different version of how this is going. Like with the idea of AI, it's like, what is AI doing? It's things on screens, and it's like it's changing the way that we think. And so I feel like we're in this stage where we can call it out now.
Yeah.
But if you go through cycles of humans that go through this, can they ever see it anymore? Or do we all just become like a performance?
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Like Mike Azul in the chat says, it's clear when performance is rooted in some sort of semblance of reality and when it isn't. And I would totally agree with that. And, like you were talking about AI slop inside of, video feeds now. And I feel like anytime I see one of those, as soon as I realize it's AI, I'm kind of like, like next for the most part, because if you have a video of a giant like a big fat guy doing a massive, cannonball into the pool, it's interesting if that's a real life person doing that, because you're like, wow, guy did that, and look how big the wave was, and you know, oh, there's people around him and they're getting splashed. And as soon as I see that that's an AI thing, I just go like, what is the point of showing me that then? Like, there's no, it's just candy, right? At that point. And so I feel like there is like a thing of like, yes, I want humans to do things. Yes, I want it to be authentic. And I would feel like that is part of, you know, I mean, like parasocial relationships, right? That people have. I feel like that's a big part of that. I mean, like we sort of have it a little bit with people in the chat. Like I've met Mike Azul once, right? But like I see him in the chat and he sees me and we're talking about things, and it's sort of like this relationship that is kind of not in real life, and only at certain times and in certain ways that like Mike Azul is typing things into the chat that he wants us to see, right? In a choreographed way necessarily to present himself in a funny or interesting way, and we're presenting that forward to him, like in how we're talking, and we both sort of are kind of being authentic, but we're being changed slightly. And so our relationship is different than if like I saw him every day, right? And so then it's weird. It's like, is that relationship any less useful or good in my life? I mean, yes, it would probably be better if I saw Mike Azul every day and we talked about things, right? But then it might be that I never met him at all, you know? And so this relationship that we have in this sort of circle is better than nothing in some ways. I don't know.
I would just say that if you were around Mike Azul every day, he's an amazing, hilarious person. So
see, exactly. And I only get like this little sliver of him.
No, but I understand what you're saying. And like, so you're balancing the idea of that, you know, connection with a performative piece of someone versus not at all is if there's value in there. And I think that we're not saying performance is bad.
Right.
I don't think that's ever been the story here. But I think the idea that we get so enamored and so entrenched in the performance in an online kind of perspective that we started to trade the idea of connection for more of an audience and more of the like. So where we may be doing this video, like I feel still to this day that we're doing this for the fact that we get to hang out together.
Right.
The fact that we get to talk and have a chat with everyone there, and that fills me up.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing this because I want a gazillion people to be watching this right now.
Or famous.
Famous. I want to do it because like I will have this conversation with you.
Right.
And if we can extend it and have that, but there is a little performance to it.
Yeah.
Like I have a little maybe thing to my voice.
We have literally a thing that we, you know, researched beforehand about the topic. You know, I mean that there's performance in that.
And being able to to show up, but I think it's a tight balance, and so maybe what we're agreeing on at this point is yes, we're performative, but is it something that's negative? Is it something? And I think that for some people it is.
I think when it leans too far and it becomes your entire thing that you need to do, and that's where I feel like I come back to actors, right? Would they have to be like act in a certain way around everyone, acted in when they're in front of fans, acted when they're in interviews, acted when they're in front of any single person, and then the only time they get to be not like that is at home or something, or with their significant other. If you don't get enough of that, you just go, who am I, right? Am I this performer, or where does me end and the performance of me begin? And that's when I feel like it's on the like destructive side and of personality. And I feel like the problem is we've all become actors in a certain way because we can all have an audience of someone. And so then some people are just going to take it too far and it become, you know, an issue with them. Whereas we weren't all actors before, so we could, you know, we didn't have necessarily that problem. But now we do, and so we got to figure that out as a society.
Old saying, come as you are. People that matter should be able to accept you at your defaults. I appreciate that. I think you're hitting on what kind of the theme of what we're trying to get at to this night. You know, I was thinking about there's a YouTuber out there, and there's these names for it. I'm bad with the names and trends, but the concept was that he was really good musician. And he did music on there, and you probably would have known this. And then he got really famous for that. But then he went and started doing those like eating things, those eating on camera. Have you heard of that before?
Yes. Yeah.
And do you know who I'm talking about? This
No,
guy.
I
So
no.
this guy, very like skinny dude, playing
And these mukbang videos.
Mukbang. That's the one. That's the word. Thank you for bringing it. And goes down the path, and he like became just like morbidly obese
Oh,
and
man.
doing mukbang.
Yuck.
And like couldn't stop because he couldn't give up the audience.
Right.
He couldn't give up the performance to like make himself get
Yeah.
better.
Right.
Like to the point at the end, he'd be like, I'm going to eat 7 cheeseburgers and like a bathtub of French fries tonight. And people were like, we're watching more for the train wreck
Yeah.
at the end, but they were like, this is totally unhealthy. But like, that's where I think we're heading. Cause like, think about it. How many billions of people are constantly performative on these different things, and they're detrimental to themselves. They're not who they are. They're not vulnerable. They're not transparent. They're not the real people. So what are we doing to like get out of that?
Yeah, I love this as the sort of end wrap up to this of like, I feel like we end up with this way in a lot of like, here's the dystopian future that we're headed towards. What can we do to maybe, you know, either as a society sort of maybe avoid that, or at least individually get out of that trap. So I like this idea of ending on a hopeful note, and I feel like we have some like
There is
good bullet points here of like things you could do.
And it's not just things that Adam and Ryan are saying you should do,
Sure.
but we're seeing others do.
Right.
We're listening to, and I'll just even throw an anecdote out there that I was looking, like there's a lot of different efforts where there's restaurants or little places that will say, hey, if you put your little phones in this cage here, then you get a full, like you get 10% off your meal. And then like, it's so like, and they're trying to work on that. And then but then there's other people that are like, I know for me, I'm like a no phones at the table dinner dad. And I'm like,
too.
and we're going to have dinner together.
Yep.
Like, get your butts out here, sit
Not
down.
in front of the TV, you know,
No.
in their room.
We're going to have a conversation.
Yep.
And so, but we're also seeing others out there that are starting to say like, how can we put down the phone? There's dumb phones that they're coming out with lately. This one always blows my mind, but how many records in vinyl are out there right now?
Totally. Yeah, I feel like that's a whole like analog push, right? To not as digital, not as easy to skip songs, helps you, you know. And I heard, you know, music quality.
Yeah, the fidelity of it
Yeah,
is
exactly.
like is bar none. Like we went to a degraded one when
Totally.
we went to digital.
When you're
for
used
sure.
to listening to MP3s, right?
Yeah.
Listening to a record feels much more full.
But the idea that it's coming back and that people are embracing these nostalgic kind of retro versions of the world before, I find myself even thinking of the past. We talked about earlier, like where would you go in an area? And like I was like, get me away from technology.
No technology. Yeah.
Get me where the connection is again, where I could feel like I could be me and like be I wouldn't say cool, but different. Like I could be that different presence, and people are like, oh, there's that guy, because they're not so tainted by all these other brands of other people. They're like, there's the real human.
You don't got to keep up with the, you know, the Kardashians. Oh God, that's an old reference. Like you don't have to keep up with like, you know, the stars of social media that everybody else has to keep up with. Because you didn't have to care about that. The only people you cared about was in your town.
Well, and I think that was a simpler time. It was a funner. It was a funner. It was a more fun time. And I know this feels so old of us to be like talking about the nostalgia time. This is the nostalgia part. It's like
Right.
the unperformed, like to be able to have the moments that you could be messing up or not saying the right things, and that's okay. And you
Or being at a concert and not feeling like you have to record a bunch of them.
God, I'm
right?
so bad at that. I got better though. I usually do like one song and then I
Okay.
put it away. I'm like, I got the song.
Got the song.
And now, and usually I'm like, in the moment, I'm like, you're never gonna watch this. This is stupid. You're being stupid. Just suck in the moment. There's nothing you can do to capture the amazingness that you're feeling right now. So just embrace it.
You know
what
what's
have.
nice? You know what's nice? I will put a pitch in for the 1 second today video, because say I'm at a concert, I know I need a 1 second today, right?
Yeah.
But I only need to capture like 10 seconds of video, and it'll be like, great, I'll get a 1 second out of that. And then I feel like, yes, I've captured it. I have my thing for the day. Like I have that 1 second. It's good. I don't need 7 minutes, right? Or God forbid, an hour of this concert recorded.
Right.
Just need that little snippet.
Get that thing. I got my dopamine hit. Because
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
My little
got my
piece.
little thing. I checked it off the box for that day, Yeah.
So this is where we start to think about, as we reclaim, like losing our sense of play was what I brought up earlier in the discussion, is that when every hobby becomes content, like play isn't there anymore. And I've been always struggling, and this is what got me to a little bit of tonight's topic, was struggling to figure out why I feel like play isn't there, or like I'm excited to go do this thing. And I think it's because I've gotten to a moment where I'm feeling so performative, not because of the stream, but like even in anything that I do.
Yeah.
I'm like, my time is very minimal at this point, and I got to make sure I use every second as best as possible.
Right.
But I've also realized in certain cases, like this does not feel healthy. It does not fill me up. And so one of the things is I had been playing some games on my own. I'll go sit in my bedroom, turn on my TV, and be like, I'm going to go and play N++ tonight. And I don't give a crap about anybody else. And I'm going to have the most fun that I can have. And I'm going to play this game together with myself.
And you know what? Here's where I think it is scary sort of for the future of this, right? Because the reason that you would go and play N++, sure, because it's fun, right? Like, and you enjoy that game and you know it well, and you could just sit there and play it. Say there was an audience for you playing N++, right? Like say there was an audience.
Yeah.
Which might be this AI audience, and you wouldn't know necessarily. And you would think that they were there giving you likes and doing that. And your lizard brain is going to love that attention, but it's like not even real, but you might not even care at some point. And so then you're going to be like, damn, I should be playing M+ on stream because I got 10,000, people that are going to be in there rooting me on and telling me about things and doing the exact, different than our chat, of course, because our chat is amazing and an AI chat would be lame. But like your lizard brain might not like accept that and be like, yes, I want that dopamine thing. So instead of playing this by myself and just having an interesting time and doing that, I will go and play it online because I'm going to get so many likes and so many things. So like not only in the age of AI, like you could right now you have a potential audience that you're thinking about. Like, and half the time, nobody's going to give a crap that you're playing that game, right? But imagine a time coming up in the future where there is going to be an audience for that, and that's going to be a whole pull that pulls you into that same ecosystem again, as opposed to having a, nice night by yourself.
Ryan, chat saying you need to copyright your ideas tonight. You're like a soothsayer. This is like a future state of how we're going to get engaged.
This is what Twitch is going to be.
You're not half wrong. Like how much of our likes and things are just a bunch of bots out there are trying to get you to go one way or another.
Because I think the problem is our brains don't evolve quick enough. So like in 1,000 years and in 100 different generations, yes, you would evolve the thing to be like, I don't care about that. That's stupid. But like right now we love that stuff. And I don't think it's going to change between, my kids and my grandkids, like all that much. And so it's just going to be able to get exploited. And that's like either, like you said, maybe there's a Gen Z sort of push to say, no, I don't care about any of that. I know that's bad for me. I know that is just like masturbatory, like, audience shilling or whatever. Like maybe they can sort of think about that. But I bet, a lot of people, even when they grow up in that sort of situation, not going to be able to like differentiate or even at some point care that there's a differentiation.
So sometimes we're living in these absolutes and something that inside me, human, and I don't know if it's just me because I can only understand what it's like to be in my brain, but rebels from this. And I do believe others do as well. And one of the things that helps me is like moments. And I've said this a lot of times. And like, I focus on the person that I'm with and I try to be in that moment with that person when I'm in the moment. And that to me is the most important piece of this. Like, it's not performative. It's like, hey, we have this like interesting thing that we're going to have together. And for whatever reasons, the two of us are in this moment together. Let's have a connection. Let's not try to make this about performance. Let's try to learn something. And so I think that if we start to choose being present in our moments and not thinking like, oh, my phone just buzzed and I need to go look at that, like, there's a person in front of me and I'm having a conversation and I want to listen to it. And I'm going to give you an example. So tonight, right before I came to this, I had a really busy day and there was a fundraiser. No, it wasn't even a fundraiser. It was like trustees that help donate money to the university were coming together, and it was a mixer.
Cool.
And so I went into this event and I saw somebody that I see quite often, but I haven't had a chance to have a discussion with. And in the moment I was like, this is a moment where I just want to learn a little bit about this person. I was like, what's been going on? And they talked about some of their day things, and they were like, and they study birds, and they study like the migratory patterns of birds. It's a professor.
Yeah.
And you could tell that they were excited about it. I could just tell.
Right.
Like that was their thing. And but then they kind of moved on because they're like, nobody wants to listen to this. And I was like, hey, these are some really interesting concepts. Like, you talked about these birds. I want to learn a little bit more. Tell me more. And I was really wanted to know more. I just wanted to hear about it. And so they went into it a little bit more, and they're like, yeah, well, we put these little trackers on them and we can kind of see where it's at. And it's pretty interesting because now we can see the patterns. And then they still tried to pull back from themselves. They were like still going into their performative mode. Like, we are at this trustee kind of thing. We're having conversations with others.
And nobody gives a shit about migratory birds.
And I was like, that's awesome. Tell me more. And I was like getting into it. And then they ended up going on for about 10 minutes about it, and they showed me this app.
And then I was like, oh gosh, shut up.
No, I was actually, so like it got to the point where I learned how they make these little backpacks that they put on birds.
Okay.
And they have these little tiny itty bitty sensors, and like when you think of backpack, it's not literally a backpack, it's like a little tiny, like barely an ounce or less kind of sensor. And what they did is it's this new sensor that if you have an iDevice, any iPhones or Apple device, or AirTags, it like checks in, and they're able to track these migratory patterns of birds all across, North America. So it was an amazing story. And so my point is that stepping into this thing, I was like, I got to go to this thing, and I got to go to Double Drop Down. Like, that was my perspective.
Yeah.
I got into a moment, and I could be performative, shake some hands, kiss some babies, do the things. But I was like, here is a moment where I can connect with somebody, and as a human moment, I'm gonna freaking take this moment. And I learned something interesting, and I feel so much different and better because of it. That like I want other people to experience that and not feel like there's this performance. Like, how do you break down those barriers? And I think it takes some intentionality in us to live in these moments together.
I mean, that's great. Like that should, like you said, intentionality, right? Because it could easily have been something where you just sort of flew through that little fundraiser thing, had got your free drink, shook some people's hands, said hello to that, and bailed out. But like it does take some mental energy more than just doing, talking to that person and being like, well, I have to pay attention to what they're saying, right? They're talking about birds. I don't know anything about birds and the migratory patterns. And so you have to like pay attention to that. It's like harder. It takes more effort to do something like that than to just, have a drink and nod along to a bunch of conversations you don't care about and then leave. And so in some ways, like if that person had been talking about maybe something really esoteric that you had like couldn't even follow, right? You'd be like, well, okay, like maybe I need to bail out of this conversation. So it's like there was some like lane that they stayed in that you could like be interested in and everything. And so, but it's like finding what that is.
And I think that's what I'm getting at, is that the there are performances that are happening, and I think we can break it down and get maybe to people's backstage. If we're always performative, and that's really the way that life is just built socially, we're building our story as we go, is that I want to get back to those moments where people aren't putting up their mask and they're not trying to do something that's going to pull the wool over my eyes to see a perspective of them that isn't necessarily the full truth, and they're doing something to look cooler than they are or better than they are.
And don't you think that's usually sort of one-on-one or very small group conversations? Like, it's hard to do that with like one-to-many. Because you don't know, like, we're doing this a little bit one-to-many, and we don't know who's out there, and so we don't know how to sort of adjust ourselves to be able to, accept that from everyone. Whereas if you're on one-on-one, you start understanding who they are a little bit, like maybe you change slightly, they change slightly to sort of meet in the middle, and then you can have a real conversation with it. I mean, to me, if I could look back at the last 10 conversations that we've had about AI and the future of stuff, it all comes back to, yes, that's going to be very helpful and productive, but it's also going to take you away from real life interactions with people. And so you're just going to have to be more intentional about the real life interactions that you have with people and try to get as much as you can out of those and put yourself in that uncomfortable position to have those conversations. And sometimes it's going to be about an esoteric thing that you don't care about. And sometimes you're going to get a sweet migratory bird researcher conversation, while you drink a whiskey at a work thing. And, sometimes you just got to go in that direction.
Ryan, you have a really good conclusionary kind of ways of navigating this. And I guess that's what I wanted to take away from this is like, let's acknowledge, number one, that we're performative. Right. It's happening. Right. We've seen it. It's escalated. And online has only just perpetuated this concept that we have to be performative. And now we've started to cater and create these curated streams of who we think we are, who we want to be. Yeah. And then it tricks ourselves into thinking sometimes like, this is who I am and I need to act that way. And then what it does is it takes us away from some of those intentional moments that we just got to.
Right.
Like, I feel like it gives us this moment of like, I don't want to go in and be all fanboy about whatever this person is going to have a conversation and learn a little bit about it. And so as we start to move forward with it, just maybe the awareness of it helps. The concept that like it's happening, and then just being able to identify like, okay, maybe I am on the stage today, but is there a moment out of this that I can actually get to some reality, like some moment that I could appreciate a little different than I've maybe kind of just gone on before. Like, to me, I don't like to have too far of a distance between impactful conversations with people.
Right.
For me, I need to get those filled up moments to know that other humans are being humans and enjoying what they are doing in their life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think certain people get into these stuck moments where they don't see anything other than, if I don't post like this next perfect thing, it's like my life is over. I like the past. I like the nostalgia of where we're at, and I appreciate the conversation tonight.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you for coming up with this amazing not AI topic for us to talk about. One of few, it feels like.
I know. We've been doing good at being able, and it builds on a lot of what we discussed. So as we go into the next session, like the next one that we're gonna have is our 24-hour stream, Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, before we end this for the podcast session, we should talk about that. Next week, we won't have a normal show. Normally, the show is on Thursday. We will have a Friday and Saturday show. It will be a 24-hour Twitch stream in a charity stream for the charity Extra Life that gives donations to the Children's Miracle Network hospitals, and we'll be doing ours and donating money and getting people to donate money for the Denver Children's Miracle Network hospitals that we all have associations with, and is just an amazing organization, an amazing charity, and an amazing thing that they put towards. So we'll be streaming, and we're going to be talking about it. If you want to come and see us during the 24-hour stream, we're going to put up an agenda of what we're doing hour to hour, and we're gonna talk a little bit about it in this next section. So
absolutely,
thanks for hanging out and helping us.
And so thanks for that, Ryan, because I think that's a really good call out, is as we start to think about, this is year 3.
Year 3.
Year 3 of this, and we're getting we're starting to get up there in some of our donation capabilities after a couple of years.
I know, exactly.
And I just recently, not to like dox my kid, but we had to go to the Miracle Network hospitals recently.
Right.
So
you have firsthand knowledge.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
They had some really good facilities. They were so kind about it. So I'm 100% behind the cause here. And if it just gives up, 24 hours of our day, measly hours that we would have wasted on YouTube short scrolls, then we can spend that time, and we're gonna do that. But we have an amazing show starting to come together right now.
Yeah.
We are gonna spend some time. We need some insights of where it's at.
Yeah, for the last half hour of the show, for the true believers, the real in the chat. If you want to help us, you can guide some of what the 24-hour stream looks like right now, as we put it together, because we have moments. I feel like over the last month or two, we've sort of come up with people that we're going to talk to and ideas that we have for the show, but it's sort of a loose list of them. So like Adam's put together a thing, I've sort of put together a list, and so it'd be great to hear feedback on it.
So I think let's just jump in. There's a couple things that might help us to design this, and I would say let's circle the things that we think are going to be like guarantees. We just have to have that in the show, or put it in.
Well, there's a couple. So there's one So I will say the one interview that I've already scheduled, and the person had said yes, I could do it at that time, and yes, that would be a good thing to do, is my friend Mike Shipley. He is going to talk about 3D printing and technology and AI, and he's interested and involved in all of those things in his career and his hobbies. And so we are going to talk to him. He's in South Carolina, so it'll be noon Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific, or 10 a.m. Mountain. So 10 a.m. on Saturday, we're scheduling in Mike Shipley.
So we got a Shipley for a lock. I love that. We've been collecting lime seltzer sparkling waters for a couple months now.
God, I feel like this needs to be a little bit more in prime time than you have it. You have it buried in the middle of the night.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. Who the fuck is watching at 4 a.m., Adam?
You just used our
I know, and I almost didn't, but I felt like I really needed to hammer it home.
Okay, so here's the deal. Here's how this list came up. I went to AI and said, the last 2 years on 24-hour stream, this is what we've accomplished. Here are the things that we've already locked in for this year. Give me a idea to spread a variety show together, and what's your best take
So
on
I
it?
did mine out of my own brain, and Adam just threw a bunch of
Like a
garbage,
peasant.
slop,
like
into,
a non-performative peasant.
and we're going with Adams as the template here that we're working off
I said
of.
nothing about these lock-ins. I'm just saying the things that we're going to do. All right? I'm not even talking about times yet.
So I would say the other one locked in is Inktober. I already sort of talked with Disturbed about a time to come for that. So he is coming Saturday. What was it? Like 1 o'clock or something.
One on
like
Saturday.
that.
So we're gonna go
One on
look at
Saturday.
So what we'll look at, just to be clear, so we're gonna look at your drawings, we're gonna look at Disturbs, we'll look at mine.
I think we need to look. I think we'll just go through the
Everyone.
Discord, right? And we'll just talk about each day.
Get it in on the
And
Discord.
If you have any drawings that haven't been in yet for Inktober and you want us to talk about them,
If you wanted to put it in the video that's going to be trained by AI so they can use your amazing drawing skills, show up to the 24-hour stream.
wow, you're really selling it.
Hey, come on. These are AI folks here. You want to grab me one of those? I could definitely use a water.
Which one do you want?
I want the bougie Topo Chico, very bottom of the thing. All right, so I have the spider robot, and I went and I looked at what it's gonna take to build this sucker.
Yeah, and that
Holy
the way that you just framed that
smokes.
made me think that it's gonna be a little bit. Does some of it need to be done beforehand by you? So the interesting part is sort of on screen.
All right, I'm gonna put it on the screen right here. So if you're not familiar, we're gonna look at what it's actually gonna take to do this. So I went and what the hell? What in the smokes?
These aren't spiders.
What the?
Why does scrolling with your mouse wheel?
Let's look at tutorials. I know which one it is.
This is a bad website.
It's 52. It's from China. Be very nice to them. They were very nice to me, Ryan. And
they should have Replit help them with their website.
And let me tell you what they did. It came with a broken part. And then I sent in a notice that, hey, this part's broken on like the day that they went on a week-long holiday across their country in Japan and China. But then they were like, yep, we'll get you the part. Somebody sent me the 3D printable version. They're like, you could 3D print this if you need it today.
Oh, man.
And then they sent me the part from China direct, and it took like a week and a half. And I was like,
wow.
So free Novi. Great company
Great.
So far. I love what they were able to bring to their,
nice.
But they have
Good
this
customer service.
I was totally astonished by this, but this is what we're building. We're building this control robot. So I went through all the steps, and like there's so much, like you're programming this thing.
That's what I was worried about.
And I don't think we're gonna do all of the programming, so to speak, on the thing. Like we're watching programming. We don't want to watch all the programming.
I don't want to watch it for 30 seconds while we're
learning
about what the spider
about
does.
it. I thought this was this. It is the control. Okay, there is the control. So they're basically setting up the controls on this particular device, and they're saying like there's a little camera in the mouth and these like ultrasonic sensors in there. So I thought what would be like the most fun for stream if we're gonna do this is what if we just built the robot?
Yeah,
like that was
it's like a Lego build almost.
It's the
like
physical.
It's the physical build. I mean, yeah. So is it more fun? Because here's how I'm expecting this build to go. There's the physical build, and then there's a whole bunch of programming and doing everything, and then there's a fun robot spider running around.
Yes.
Is the most fun the build? Or is the most fun Adam builds it beforehand, gets it all set up and ready to go, and then we just program it to run around the room?
That's such a wasted performance of not building it on camera.
Okay,
Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. Can't waste that content, right? Well, you just do a side stream for it, of course.
I thought it might be like a neat little like side gig. Like, so let's say, because when you get into the 24-hour stream, if you want to get in the psychology of it, you step into the 24-hour stream, you're like, shit. This is in 24 hours.
It's 8 shows in a row, basically.
So we go in, and maybe I set up and we open it up and we look at it, and then like on a couple segments, I'm dinking around with it. That I'm just saying these are ideas. I'm not saying we have to do it this way. Or I have it set up in that back room, in the little build area, and then when we have a conversation on occasion, I'll be like, let me put on a leg, or let me do this.
Yeah. Okay. Or like I could see even, me playing a game and you building the thing.
Yeah,
like,
and just talking during the game.
Just talking about something.
Because like what you're watching right now is essentially what you would be watching on stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm taking all these parts out. They like boring but kind of cool, and like going back and like Ryan's playing whatever game he's playing. Maybe I do a lot of this beforehand, so you don't have to see this like lame part of it.
Yeah, because I mean,
That's a lot of crap.
This is like hours, right, of putting tiny bolts into pieces of laser cut wood.
Yeah, it's laser cut like something else, and it's a pain in the ass to get that paper off. But guess what we're gonna use. What? The Raspberry Pi that we set up on a 24-hour stream.
Nice.
We're gonna use that.
So maybe that would be like a later thing that we would, once we sort of got it built on the 24-hour stream, or at least part of it, then we would come back to it.
Yeah, like I feel like if we did this and we built the thing, we're like, we got Spider built. Remember when we started it? And then this becomes like the next project for the next 3.
Totally.
One of the things that I wanted to do with it too is you get it to a checkpoint where you can control it with your phone and it does all these like fun things, but then you can program it and you could add new things to it.
Yeah.
I think that's the fun of it is you get a robot and maybe we can plug in some AI into it or something like that.
Yeah, right? Like I would love it if it was like patrolling for something around.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe a little bit of the spider
So you're
build.
saying, like maybe there's an hour dedicated spider build, but then it also just gets brought up
on occasion. Like if there's a moment where we're like, you're like, yeah, it's game time. It's the middle of the night. I need to just go play a game for a minute. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna work on the spider and we'll chit chat.
Okay, so maybe the hour is a late night one.
I think so.
Okay.
So I came up with another concept called the Delirium podcast.
Okay.
I was thinking,
did AI come up with this? Or did you,
I came up with this,
yeah,
Ryan.
I was gonna say because there was a lot of eyes doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
Okay, I is in like but no, I did go back and forth about the concept of us doing podcasts like we do now. We should do like at least one or two of them during the stream.
Okay.
And so the Delirium one I thought would be fun is if we had a super late night themed podcast, maybe even a little bit more risque than our normal podcast.
Okay.
And then we go in and we talk about a topic that's a little bit more like you got to be up late to see that fun one that we had done.
Okay.
And
so Delirium is just the title of the, of the type
because
but it would be
get
on
delirious
a
late at night and
yeah.
like we're always talking yapping and like we'll go into some weird dystopian AI crazy future with sex bots or whatever.
Right. Yeah, like pick something that's an hour-long conversation or half an hour conversation that we research sort of behind, like we don't normally do for our show. I like that idea.
DDD After Dark is damn right. That's what it is.
That's a good one.
I think we're going to call it that. I'm renaming it DDD After Dark.
I like that. It's where it gets a little blue.
We gotta respect the chat. You just created a segment for our show. Mini segment DDD After Dark.
Okay, so we also have the Game Boy Lego build. If we're keeping with builds,
hell yeah, right?
I looked up how many. It's like 421 pieces.
10 minutes,
right?
All of it done in 10 minutes.
As if. I heard about 2 hours.
Really?
Is typically what for like 500 pieces takes about 2 hours. And have you done dual Lego builds before? Like what? When you have two people doing a Lego build together at the same time?
Yeah, I'll be here and you're going to be giving me a massage.
You're going to be cheering me on from the sidelines while I do this amazing thing. No, I mean, I've done a lot of 2-person Lego builds with my kids before.
Okay.
And here's how we do it. You open up your page, right? Here's the page. It has 2 sides of the page. You're going to need objects, Legos for each of those builds. On the first build, I, as one side, pick out the Legos that you need for those 2 pages. That's my job. I'm picking out from the thing. Oh, here's the little square one, and you're going to need this one, and you're building from those. You build your section, then we flip the page. Now you're picking out the Legos for me, and I'm building on that. And that's how you go back and forth.
I absolutely love the concept.
And I'm just gonna say, you're not building a freaking second of my Game Boy thing if you think there's any of that happening.
No, I had flashes of my my OCD tendencies on how I do Lego builds.
Oh man, really?
You didn't even think about this, did
no,
you?
I didn't.
Like, because they come in with multiple bags, and then I take the bags and I flatten them out, and then I lay them out into a pattern on the table, and then I very much cut them off in a certain thing and dump the things into these little these piles.
No.
Like this. Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to. Can you adjust?
Compromise?
Can you maybe compromise that craziness to
I don't know, Ryan.
Oh God.
I'm
all right. Well,
anxiety
whatever.
about it. No, I'm just kidding. I can compromise. Compromise. But I don't just chuck them in one big pile. Is that what you do?
Well, not every bag, because like the instructions say open the first bag,
yes,
right?
thank
And you open the first bag, and the first page needs 10 pieces of that first bag, and so I would sort of show. Yeah, I'm not opening every bag and dumping them onto the floor.
Put them in one big pile.
It's just like it's not chaos. Like it's not chaos, but it's also not whatever that was that you do.
It's like it's a spiritual experience, man. It's how I enjoy play, non-performative. But I have to be performative now to show it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, maybe we could do a little bit of your, thing of it. Okay,
It's-
so I
it's
think
not
we
so
have
bad.
that. So do you want to break that up across 2 different hours?
I feel like we do it just.
We just straight through.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm saying it's like that's
We
like
build
a
it.
3 a.m. to 5 a.m. build.
I
Right?
guarantee we get it done in an hour.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but like we could also talk about things. I feel like talking about Legos during it, like what is our thing? What's our favorite Lego build? You know, all of that kind of stuff. I feel like it's it's not just silent Lego crafting.
Fair enough. We're gonna do that.
So okay. So do you want to do that like sometime in the morning, 3 to 5? Are we coming up with the?
I don't think the times. We're just like I'm just circling like the lock-ins. For now,
Lock-ins.
I feel like we want to just say that or write a little note about the lock-ins. And then what we'll do over the course of this next week is we're going to have the full agenda. You're going to be ready to go by next, Friday?
Yeah.
By next Friday.
by next
You're going to
Friday,
have it.
an agenda.
That agenda we're going to be pushing, if not sooner.
Is there anything? Or name some other things that are locks.
So this is the one that I wanted to broach, and I spent some money already to do it. But I bought 2 Sega controllers.
Ooh.
And a very specialized singular game that has over 400 Sega games in the U.S. on
Okay.
it to play out of the original Sega.
Okay. So like some retro gaming
So
section?
so last year we tried to do retro and we had the Sega last year, but we went and put it in and we had like some really bad sports games and like Road Rash 2.
Right.
And we could not play Road Rash 2 with together. And so now I bought 2 controllers. Like brand new, the 8-bit Doe ones that absolutely
cool.
go into the old school hardware.
Wow.
So that we both have solid, delicious controllers.
Yeah.
And then this game
Great.
that apparently has a bazillion things. So retro game time on the Sega.
Retro game Sega time. I love that.
Okay.
Um.
Writing it in.
All right. I liked the idea of showing old artwork for an hour, like spending between now and the next, in 2 weeks when we do this, like digging up a bunch of old artwork that is ours, like video, like we can go to my YouTube channel, has some stuff, right? Like some video things, some like, we might have files of stuff. We might have even like physical paper or something like that we could show with your cool camera up here, and just bringing that and being like, hey, here's a segment of just like, and laughing about how cheesy some of it was, or being like, oh, that was cool. Or, I just like that idea of showing off sort of that, things that we've done previously in our lives, and probably half the people that we'd be streaming this out to had never seen any of that.
I think it'd be really fun. I have a trove of just physical drawings that I did.
Right.
And I would love to just go through myself.
Yeah,
and
and
see.
pick out the best ones, or think about it. What really brought it up is you showing the animated Buddha thing, like claymation that I did in college, and I was like, that would be fun for an hour.
It was
Look at
really
both of our
good, by the
drawings.
way. If you haven't
Oh,
seen it on
thank
the Discord, I went and looked at it again, and I'm glad that my hoarding did have something to do. I
It
have your
does.
original freaking Buddha, bro.
That one's good. I feel like that one, the one that I gave you, the sort of because I gave
Yeah.
Adam the prototype, which was the smaller, and then I had to build one that was more like, animated and movable, and it had plasticine, and it had like a whole movable skeleton of his hands and things like that. But I didn't like the actual thing of it as much as the original one. So I'm glad it has its place on your menagerie shelf or whatever that is.
Can I tell you one interesting story about that? It has a story.
The shelf?
No, your
my
your
guy.
thing,
Okay.
and I gotta grab it since we're talking about it.
Yeah. I feel like part of this should be with, if we're showing off things at some point, I feel like we got to show off Adam has this ridiculous menagerie of like things in the garage. It's just this shelf basically that is entirely filled with crazy different little action figures and sculptures.
Makes me
and
look like a serial killer.
it makes it's like very Meow Wolf, I think, to me more than serial
Nice.
killer.
I like that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Totally.
I just gotta tell you a story. I know it's a diversion, but that's
We're
what we
in
do
the
on the show.
diversions side of the thing.
So
Yeah,
this is
there he is. There's the Buddha that I sculpted out of I don't know. I guess plasticine probably is what it is.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's like no, it's what's that stuff called? It's plasticine's not the word. It's like a clay.
Yeah.
It's that polymer kind of clay.
Yeah. It doesn't move. Basically,
Super
it's
sculpty.
Yes, sculpty. Yeah.
So okay, if you can see,
O2.
Ryan signed it, but see this crack right here?
Oh yeah.
Okay, this part broke off.
Yep.
And so Ryan, if you saw this like yellow broke off little thing in your house and you're cleaning, what would you have done with it?
Right. I mean, I would probably have tossed it.
Tossed it. So that thing broke off, and I found it on the floor one day.
And you were just like, "What is this?"
And I was like, "This feels like it's to something
important."
And so I put this little piece as it broke off, and it sat for probably like a good 4 or 5 years.
Nice.
In a location in my house. And then I pulled this out at a whole different area in a different place, and I was looking at it, and I was like, "Oh man, that thing's broken." And then boom, light bulb
You're
went
just
off.
like, "What?"
The thing.
You're like those two neurons in Adam's brain connected and made like the best. It's like close to an orgasm. I love it when that happens.
So I went and found it, dusted it off, and glued it back on.
Nice.
And so
now he's
multiple
there.
stories of this.
That's
so
amazing.
I don't know. I thought that was a cool.
So I think that would be fun, like us showing off old art. So that'll be a thing that we have to do between now and then, right? Is like find a bunch of stuff. What do you want to do? What do you want to show? Get it together. Get the links. Get the files. Stuff like that.
I think we got to do some work on the video game on the Game Boy game.
Oh.
I got a re-energized kind of like mode.
I mean, last year we did that incredible like whole thing of planning out the entire storyline and all the stuff, and had our crazy like red string board.
And I think we did a little bit of it, but we didn't implement it all. So maybe let's do a sprint on working on it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, we know we're gonna want to have some kind of milestone that we meet by the end of the year. If we're getting back into it, we could sort of plan out what that is. Like, I love the idea of, even because like when we planned this out last year, it was far more intense. It was like the entire sort of script of the first act, and I feel like this version we're sort of scaling that back down and stuff like that. So let's figure out what that is, and then once we know that, then we can like work on it going in. I love that idea. Middle of the night. I feel like that's that's another like 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. or something like that.
But here's I agree with the night one, but there's another aspect of it, and we've got tentative a yes from our music producer,
right,
for a first time call. We've only ever gone through text and Discord with this guy,
right?
And so he sounds like he's game to be on the stream,
and
so
just like talk about creating music in that way.
How do you create music, and maybe do some live creation of music? I think this would be awesome. So we just reconnected with him. He's still making the music for the game.
That's awesome. Yeah, totally. I think that should absolutely be a thing, and not at 4 a.m.
No. All right. So one of the ones that we wanted to get into was like a field trip.
Yeah.
And Ryan and I had the same like energy at the get-go. We were talking about it. And so last year we went on a field trip, and unfortunately I saw a dead body.
Yeah, I mean,
randomly.
That was random.
That was totally random. But the concept that we would go in and like flip the phone so you don't see us, and you get to see an experience of something. And like, what would that experience be? Not a strip club. Don't want to get kicked out.
Yeah, like I know that that's what everyone was thinking, of course, was that we would take our live stream into a strip club.
Welcome
What's
to Double
up?
Drop
Charity,
Down.
we want to
Yeah, charity my ass. Man, that almost would be really funny, but not. So think about it, where we might be able to do a field trip. That's definitely something. I like the idea of the coffee shop like we did last year, but not like a coffee shop.
Yeah.
What was your one? Tell them.
So I mean, we were thinking like you know you could do the barcade, right, or like the pinball. Like there's a pinball barcade in downtown Pueblo, not too far away, right? Like it can't be far away because we got to drive there and be on stream the entire time. And we want it to sort of be something that could be like interesting to video, you know, and be visual, that we don't have to be talking about it all the time, because there's nothing worse than talk about main character energy.
Oh yeah.
Than going in with your little live stream at a place and just, you know, interrupting and trying to do that. Talk about the epitome of cringe. That's what I would rather avoid.
We were very humble last year about
100%. I feel like, and the only two people who were in there were the two baristas or whatever, and they did not give a shit about it.
And they probably didn't even know. We could have talked it up a lot more. We're like, hey, yeah, we're on stream, but
right,
it did not happen.
I did not want to do that.
I know that's not your vibe, right?
But you know, like a pinball thing, like we could go in, we could look at all the different ones. You could watch us play it a little bit. I think that could be fun.
So
they open at 10 a.m. So I mean, you could do it then the next day. You could do it like a Saturday thing. I think it's more fun at night though.
Yeah. Probably a night one would be better.
Yeah.
Maybe even have an interview. I'd be down for it.
With who?
Some rando that I'll come up and talk to, dude. You know me.
I'll hold the camera.
You can. I'll be like, hey, welcome to the stream. Tonight we're live streaming. Let's have a little conversation, buddy. And I have
I feel like I heard your performance voice coming out even in the practice there.
Very performative tonight, Ryan. I have microphones too that would plug into.
Is that those like
phone.
handheld
yeah,
ones?
those little
people. I see people using those all the time on streams.
Heck yeah.
Where they just hand it to people and people just talk and have it right there. I feel like that's a totally normal thing to do.
We had some really good stop at Neon Alley.
Right, that could be fun.
That's a great idea.
Like walk down it or something.
Oh my god, that's like epic.
Great.
That's perfect for main character energy.
You know, like I could see walking down Neon Alley, then going to the barcade, right?
Hell yeah.
And then walking back to the car through Neon Alley. That could be fun. We just get mugged.
It would be all on stream. Love that. No, I love the Neon Alley. That's a good call out.
Okay. I'm gonna need Children's Denver Hospital help after that.
We know we're gonna do Jackbox.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one thing. They are releasing a brand new Jackbox, 100% brand new, like literally a few days before the stream. So I think we need to buy that and try it.
Okay.
So I don't know, 11 or something like that is what it is. So I think we should totally do that.
So we're gonna do new Jackbox. I love it. I love it.
So I think we should do that.
What should we eat? I want to talk about food.
Okay.
Like, is there some things?
Oh, well, I said I loved your snacks that you provided last time. I feel like they were very like dense sort of nuts that you could eat and stuff like that, you know, like something you could just eat real quick, but it sort of fills you up in between. I thought that was great. There was like hummus and vegetables. I feel like I loved all of that. I will pitch again, you know, for any of that. Now, the actual like meal eating, I assume, is what you're talking about. I know, was there anything in previous ones that you want to replicate this time? Like, was Buffalo Wild Wings a good one?
That's what I was saying.
Or...
Like, do we have a foodie kind of event where we do
something,
the spiciest whatever?
The only bad thing with spiciest thing is that then I feel like you have to then spend, you know, multiple hours not nursing yourself back to health. You have to stay on performance while having a bunch of that and your stomach hurting and things like that. I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna follow Adam right into the bathroom. Oh, look at this guy.
Look at him. And I gotta run the whole show. I gotta do the whole stream myself.
I did like having wings. I mean, that was really good. Maybe it's not super spicy, but
I mean, we could do spicy. Like, I don't think
like
they
you had
necessarily...
cauliflower wings.
Yeah, those were great.
All right, I'm gonna just pencil in like wings as a potential. I liked it.
Last time we talked about making food on the thing, but then, you know, it never came together.
Man, we could make porco pibil.
I don't want to. I can't eat that.
Oh yeah, we could make planto pibil.
Portobello Mobile.
I bet you could make it with mushrooms.
You probably could make it with mushrooms.
That's my only thing I know how to cook well. So
The only thing from freaking 20 years ago.
actually, I do eggs really good, but I don't know if eggs are in your thing. Probably not.
I do. Yeah,
I
eat
do
eggs.
really good eggs.
What kind of eggs?
Any type you want, but scrambled is my go-to. But I put in special things into it.
Adam's a dude.
What?
He's like, you know what? You know what I do? I make eggs good. I feel like that's such a guy. That's such a
So,
guy
but
thing.
do you use green olives?
In eggs?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
So I have like gourmet shit,
Mm,
and so
nice.
I've been telling you this. Put green olives in your eggs. It changes the whole flavor profile. It's a little bit of a thing.
Would you want to go out to eat at any place? Like, would there be like a breakfast place that you could see us streaming at or eating at or doing something that would be interesting or
I'd
visual?
have to talk to them before. Like,
Right.
I feel like we would want to tell them that we would do that if we were to do something like
Yeah,
that.
you would. I would think that would be the courtesy that you would extend them. Unless, like, I could also see it being a dead place where you're outside. You know?
Well, if it was an outside thing, but it might be cold. I hear it's supposed to be like snowy.
Oh, that's true.
During
It's
that
like
time frame.
November. We're
So-
in November, so maybe not.
right.
I'm fine with that. I also know Stealth Mouse brought us some amazing food, so I don't.
Well,
wanna
Stealth Mouse
discount
said
that.
I don't want to force
I
it
don't want-
on
yeah,
her
exactly.
to make
No,
it, but
no.
absolutely, I think that could be one of those. I think we have enough. We're at the near end of the show, Ryan.
Yeah, that's true. Is there anything else you wanna add to this to make sure? Okay, I came up with some rules for the sparkling water contest. Do you want to
nice.
hear some of?
I do. Let's end on that.
Okay, so here's what I thought.
Wait. Let's explain what it is because
Okay.
we barely talked about it. So, what is the sparkling water contest?
Adam, this came off of one random comment that Adam Pocious made, which was, I bet I could tell the difference between which brand is it?
LaCroix?
LaCroix lemon sparkling water versus like if you put
Lime.
them in lime, you put them in front of, any other sparkling waters of lime. And so I was like, I bet there are ones that I could tell the difference because I did it. So what I did is I just went and just every time I would go to the store, I would just buy a random thing of different, anytime I saw lime sparkling waters. And so we ended up with like a dozen basically lime sparkling waters of different price points and brands and all of that stuff. And so I thought, great, we'll take all of these, we'll cover them up somehow. We'll try them each, right? Maybe it's a straw or something like that we put into there and we try. And then we'll have a list of here's all of the brands and the types, right? And so what I would say is so we'll also know, I also made a list. I put in, here's how much they cost per ounce. So, at the high end, you have sort of Topo Chico, which is like 12 cents an ounce or something like that. And then you have way at the very bottom, like the Costco brand, Kirkland brand ones that are like 3.5 cents an ounce. And I group them into 3 categories, which is the cheapest version, which is sort of the bottom 4, the middle, which is sort of the middle range, which is, the middle 4, and then the most expensive, which is the top 4. And so I thought, say you take a drink, if you know which one that is, you're like, that's the LaCroix. Like, I know it. You would write down LaCroix and you would know that LaCroix is in the medium, say, right? Because we'd already know that. If that ends up being a LaCroix, you get 1 point for naming the brand and you get 1 point for naming the level that it's at. But if you say it's LaCroix and it's not LaCroix, you get a negative point for that. So you almost like, if you don't know what the brand is, but you know that it's a cheap version, you could say, I think this is a cheap version, but I'm not even going to say what the brand is. I have no idea. And so then you wouldn't get a point, but you wouldn't get negative points by answering wrong. And so I feel like we just go through and we either do it one at a time or both of us together and we write down our scores. And then we sort of say like, then we do the reveal, right? Oh, what was the first one? Oh, it was this one. Adam got 1 point and I got 2 points or whatever. And we just go through the whole thing and we see who's the best at,
I'm trying to think of the logistics of this and like how this like lays out, because we have to, like, one person has to adjust it for the other person.
Well, here's what I was thinking. You could take them out of their cans. You could go, here's one glass, pour the glass into there, write something on the bottom that says LaCroix, you know, or whatever. You would just say LaCroix on the bottom, you know, and then mix them all up so that you don't know which ones they are. And now you just have 12 glasses of sparkling liquid. And you're like, great, here's the first one. Try it out. What do you think it is? We would just do all of them, drinking them. And then we would look at the bottom and be like, what was the first one? Oh, it was LaCroix. What was the second one? Oh, it was Topo Chico. And that's how we would like.
I think you're getting somewhere. The only challenge that I would have is that certain ones might lose their sparkle if we let it sit too long.
I guess that's true.
And so just like getting it.
It might have to be, you know.
And the other thing I was thinking is like, do we need to be able, like, I've not tried like a gazillion of those. Like, I'm going to just say I have no clue because I've never drank any of them.
You know, and there's ones that I haven't drank before either. But I think what it is it's almost like, well, one, Adam, can you differentiate
Can I
between
find LaCroix?
the LaCroix? That's the big thing, right? The second one is, can we differentiate between cheap ones and expensive ones? You know, because then at that point, if you can't, why are you buying expensive ones? You know, like you should just buy the cheap ones. And so it's sort of like a cycle, you know, it's sort of a thing where we're seeing, can I tell the difference between expensive and cheap seltzer waters? And if you can't, you know, why aren't we just all buying Costco brand, Kirkland brand?
I can tell it's all in the bubbles.
It's all in the bubbles. See, and I feel like you have things of like how small the bubbles are or whatever, and let's put that to the test, right?
We're gonna put it to the test.
All right.
Thanks for hanging out with us
Thank
tonight.
you.
It was a fun night.
It was. Great topic, great articles, good chat, good questions for humans, all good.
Be intentional out there. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight in the chat, and we will see you next time on a 24-hour stream.
Woo!
All right. Peace out, y'all.
Bye, everyone.